Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let her tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I was already excited to be in Miami. I am so excited to be in this room with these specific people we have on the show today. It's going to be... David, I don't want to set expectations too high. But when I tell you that Steve... God, I sound like Dan when I say when I tell you. When I tell...
What I find interesting...
I can't.
What am I supposed to do with all of this?
Stephen A. Smith is polling in actual polls for Democratic candidate for president. And that's not what we're doing to lead the show. Just to give you a sense of it.
Is it not?
We're not. We're not going to do it.
You mean to tell me I'm leading in polls and you don't want to talk about it? This is despicable by you, Pablo.
That was decent. That's not... Lauren Michaels wouldn't call you back. Do better.
Okay,
Try again right now.
Here we go. David Samson, who I know very, very well.
Oh, there it is.
Wants to say that my Stephen A. Smith isn't up to par for Lauren Michaels and SNL. Let me tell you something. SNL been on the air for 65 years.
Oh, come on. It's a good show.
Oh.
Ooh.
So
wow.
That's right.
We're going to lose them all,
Lauren
Pablo.
Michaels.
The emergence of executive producer Chris Cote is a subplot that I was not totally prepared for when I got here. But he's in full bloom. He's heat checking.
Chris Cote, who came in saying bowling maybe got to him a little bit last night.
Wow. Long night at bowling.
Where were you, Chris? I want to go around the room. Where were all of us when we found out? And let's get Pat Riley in the room, by the way. He's not here. Get him back. Thank you. Where were you when you found out that we're going to laugh at the Miami Heat?
I was at a bowling alley, and you could see...
dad?
Yeah, with my dad. My dad actually had to leave after game... 3 games is usually bowling. After game 2, it happened like midway through game 2. He got a call from his boss. He's like, guys, I got to go.
Wow.
Gotta
You
write
couldn't
it down.
write from the alley?
I was like, you should just dictate it into your So yeah, I was there and I just saw people looking at their phones. It was one of those things. Well, that was startling to see that hand enter the room.
I just saw a finger pointing at me.
There's really no reason for you to have been late, though.
No, I mean, me being late had nothing to do
I thought you were talking
with
to Pat.
bowling. Yeah, me being late was me waking up at 7:15 and my wife being like, "Are you going to work today?" And I was like, "Huh? Yeah." It was bad.
Nothing to do with bowling, though.
Nothing to do
We
with
can't
bowling.
leave Pat. For those of you watching on the Dan Le Batard Network, we're going to leave him right there? Right
Yeah.
behind Pop? Was he pointing?
pointing-
Was he
well,
pointing at you?
He's reaching out to you so you can awkwardly dap him.
I'd snuggle him right now.
It's like that portrait of God touching the finger of the other guy in the
That's
portrait.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's Roy shouting out
Hey, how you
Renaissance
doing?
art. Hello.
Botticelli?
Yeah.
You a big
Whatever you
Botticelli
say.
person?
Whatever you say. Yeah.
Gesundheit.
Find a child. Yeah.
I would ask Jeremy where Jeremy was because Jeremy is, of course, the most plugged in the building that's across the street from this building reporter that we have. But Jeremy is not allowed to talk about the Miami Heat until he does something that we said we wanted yesterday.
Are you serious?
Deliverables.
You have to be able to do your job.
What did I do wrong?
Thong song, make it.
You promised
You
the
guys
thong
were
song.
serious?
So David
no heat
Samson
talk from
calls
you.
his flip-flops not flip-flops, but
They're thongs. I'm wearing them today, actually. Comfortably.
Thongs on.
and this right now, Jeremy, would be a great time for me to gesture to you and you hit play. Instead, we don't have anything
I haven't done this.
to sell the bit.
What were you doing?
So what we
There were a
need
few other things going
Touching
on.
your nipples to Andrew Wiggins?
Did you?
You can't. Don't answer
No.
that.
No.
No, you're not allowed to.
Nope. Nope.
You can't.
Nope.
You're forbidden.
We are edging towards heat discourse, and Jeremy is going to just have to make.
So are you
some
telling me
music.
that literally the only way we get to talk about this trade is if I go
The
make
only
a
way
thong
that
song?
you can talk about this
I
trade.
can talk
We're
about
going
it.
to
We're
talk
gonna
about
talk
this trade.
about it.
I'm out.
Oh, gonna
I'll
talk
be
about
right back.
PJ Tucker.
What happens after the edging?
Well, Izzy, we're about to find out.
Oh,
I was at a great restaurant
Oh.
when the text came in.
What was the restaurant?
Cote, Miami.
Where is that?
Isn't that Cody, Miami?
Yeah.
Oh, is
Cote?
it pronounced Cody?
It's spelled the same.
It is spelled the same. It's a Korean barbecue steakhouse in Midtown.
Incredibly fancy.
Michelin award winner.
You could get the Michelin A5 tasting. I didn't quite get that. However, then the phone started going off, and my first thought was, well, we're in Miami. Let's go do the show
Right now, live.
right now.
Yeah.
Hold the phone.
And
you can't taste anything, right?
Nope.
So
Why are you
there's
going
a
to
lot
such
of
an expensive
spice.
restaurant?
Wasted
There's a
time.
lot of
Good
spice. Izzy.
follow up.
A lot of spice.
So
and I was with
so
people
you
who
feel
love that kind of
spice or
food.
you taste spice?
I feel it.
It's hot.
It's hot.
So like around your temples, like
No.
up in the jaw area?
Nasal. Nasal.
That
Okay.
combined with the
Sinuses.
texture of the
The
beef,
texture
right?
of beef is.
Yeah.
It's a great restaurant.
Let's clip that.
It's a cl-
I
Just,
want
use
Pablo
later, please.
ready to
In
go.
club.
I want you ready to go. And the only word I get back as I'm trying to spring into action, Pablo, quote, I'm in a towel.
At a spa, I believe.
I was working.
I was decompressing
In a towel.
in a pre-scheduled spa setting.
Did you have cucumbers on your eyes?
I wish. What happened was I have a routine. You can imagine what the first part of the routine is. I don't even need to say what the routine is. But I go and I lie down and I forgot that my contacts were in. And when I awoken,
That's not English.
I cannot specifically give you the Pantone color of red that my eyes were. But it was
wow.
bad. I wish I had cucumbers on my eyes. Instead, I had shriveled up contact lenses.
And that's why you couldn't detowel, get dressed, and
I was not camera
come
ready,
do some
David.
work.
I was not camera ready.
And are you now?
Wait to see.
We had an opportunity, guys.
David wanted to come into the studio to talk about this trade. I said we should wait till everybody's ready to talk about the trade.
How are we not ready? It's not like this came out of. We've been talking about Jimmy Butler for how long?
Like since January 1st.
Okay, does that give you enough time to be ready? 35 days. Were you going to learn about his stats or try to guess what Pat Riley was going to do? We needed to be here, and I wasn't going to come alone because I told Cody I was
Okay.
scared.
Well, hold on. Chris was offended that you did not invite him to a restaurant that had
Named
his,
after him.
If I was going to a restaurant called Samson last night, I would have invited you.
Sounds like a terrible restaurant.
Very
will-
plain, very unseasoned food.
Samson's.
Little bags of candy.
It was an insane
As
dress
appetizer.
code for no reason.
I wore a Robert Graham shirt.
Damn flashes.
The steaks, sloppy.
Sloppy steaks.
If the restaurant were pronounced Cody, I would have invited you. But it's not.
We actually have no idea how the restaurant's name is pronounced.
I believe it's called Cote.
I believe that Amin Al Hassan's night, when it comes to who is struggling the most on the road to giving takes this morning, I believe Amin is going to win that contest.
Yeah, I was recording it till like 1 a.m. I hate this week.
Are you already empty of takes? Do you have to regenerate takes?
No, because it's not like I get in this argument with Dan a lot. Dan's like, I need new stuff. I'm like, this is the stuff. It's like no one's coming up and saying milk is boring. Give me something. No, milk sells. It does numbers. Everyone wants to talk about this Jimmy Butler trade. Everyone wants to talk about what the Lakers did last night.
Yes.
Everyone wants to talk about Kyle Kuzma, right?
Ugh, the Wizards.
Brandon Ingram. Like there's a bunch of deals. Just because I said it on Sirius XM radio last night doesn't mean, well, that's expired. Turn that one away. Give me a new one. Make someone else get traded. I mean, right now, so that we can talk about that hasn't talked about anywhere. It's fresh. Because
Wait, hold on. Amin is arguing for the Nico Harrison Nike pitch approach. Yeah, look, I gave this to Kevin Durant. I'm going to change a couple names. It'll be all good for you.
there's no such thing as tailor-made trade talk. Like, that's the thing I don't understand.
Put that on the poll. Is there such a thing as tailor-made trade talk?
They don't do bespoke trade talk.
But your bread is buttered here. Dan, what he says, he did it to us. He said, I want 30 seconds of new takes on Luka. and all of a sudden in the container, well, that's our job. Your job is to come in
David,
here live and give us
this
something
is
we
the-
can't get anywhere else.
David,
This is already
to
annoying.
say you can't get it anywhere else assumes that the consumer is hanging on every syllable with bated breath.
They're not?
Anywhere that we talk in the world. If I'm at a club and the bouncer is there and I'm giving him 15 minutes of show, well, I just gave away 15 minutes of show. It could have been done here. No.
You were on till 1 a.m. talking about the Jimmy Butler
What
trade.
I'm not getting enough of from the people I need takes from is takes. So
Thank you.
So Ryan Cortes, I texted him. By
So
the
you went to
way.
Cortez?
I went to Cortez and I said, Cortez, you prepared to zoom in tomorrow because Cortez is the minister of heat propaganda. And Cortez says, quote, zoom in, question mark. I'm going to jump in front of a train.
That's a horrible text.
Brightline?
Do not that. We did not prep that pre-show.
I'm just saying.
If he really is saying
what-
that, there's places to get help.
What? Thank you.
You
David.
don't joke
Trigger
about
warning
that.
for
What-
the
what-
description.
That's terrible.
What I want a sense of is how it feels to be a Miami Heat fan right now. How does it feel?
I see Heat fans trying to spin this as a win. As just like, okay, we got Wiggins. No, you sound pathetic, Heat fans.
It's a little numbing.
This was like break glass in case of an emergency, last resort. Andrew Wiggins. No, I mean, especially
Yes.
with all the Durant rumors yesterday, it felt like a fun.
That's see, me and Izzy talked about this yesterday.
40?
That was another conversation. No, the reality is this deal feels less than for people like Chris and other fans because you know what could have happened. What could have happened was the ultimate prize. What could have happened was that guy right there,
Pat Riley.
coming back to life and saying to everybody, hey, let's do it again.
How many times has he gone after Kevin Durant?
Wow. Okay, so it's 2016.
Good question, Chris.
There was when he went to the Nets. There was when he went to the Suns.
Woof.
So this is the fourth time now. He'll get him
They're
one
not
day.
quitters.
What is Pat Riley saying this morning?
We're almost there.
Oh, no. What he's saying is I've got till 3 p.m. to get rid of Anderson. Because otherwise, the whole trade, I would
Kyle
not.
Anderson.
Kyle Anderson, thank you. The whole thing that people are not talking enough about, but I assume you were on till 1 a.m. You covered this. The fact that the Heat couldn't move Anderson to Toronto is crushing to them because of luxury tax, buyout market, the trade exceptions. They've
So if
got to
you,
move
David,
money.
if you would have gotten what you wanted yesterday, told everybody, hey, you get out of your towel, Pablo, get over here, Amin, get over here, I don't care about SiriusXM, you would have started with Kyle Anderson talk.
I would have started with I would not make this trade without Toronto. Remember, the way it was announced
I wouldn't have stayed up for that.
was that Kyle, well, that's why I didn't call on you, was that because you need your beauty sleep. I get it. I'm with you. And you look great today. But Kyle Anderson.
I cannot believe we're doing Kyle Anderson
was,
talk.
Yeah.
He
That's
was.
it.
I like
rumored-
the idea that someone out there is like, I rely on the Dan Le Batard Show to inform me not only
Well,
of takes but of
that's the
news.
number one problem.
And we have led with Kyle Anderson.
Even his game is boring.
I'm
Nowhere
just
else.
learning that he's
Slow-mo.
involved in this right
You-
now.
Well, that's the difference between someone who's paying attention to the business side and not bowling.
Oh,
Like Aki.
The fact of the matter is that they've got till 3 p.m. to make a move, or I would not have made the Butler trade.
so what David is talking about right now, the Heat are $2.5 million over the apron. In order to get under that apron, they've got to shed salary. And the problem is, all the names that would accomplish that are like guys they would want to keep, or guys that can't move. So, like if you look around that salary level, you've got Jaime Jaquez Jr., obviously they're not going to move him. Jovic, obviously they're not going to move him. Kel'el Ware, obviously they're not going to move him. Haywood Highsmith, they like him a lot. They're not going to move him. And so Kyle Anderson is the new guy. Now, the irony is I think he could actually help this team. He's a good player. But at that point, the margin of improvement that he brings does not, I don't think, make up for the lack of getting tax disbursements, because in the NBA, and now this is really the show.
We've
everyone
said
wants.
tax disbursements before Steph Curry. I'm
Yeah.
doing a great job hosting this
Also,
morning.
Chris Cody just looked up Kyle Anderson so he could, quote, see what this guy looks like.
Can we look?
We win.
I led
Dan, we're doing great.
I led with how are all of us learning about the trade. I want to show everybody, in case you missed this, how Kevin Love, member of the Miami Heat, heard about the trade.
Got Kyle Anderson, Dennis Schroeder, and Andrew Wiggins.
Okay.
We robbed them. First round pick, protected.
Okay, I'm gonna look at right now, like rotation.
No, they didn't give out the year. No.
Wait, are you kidding?
Wait, are you kidding?
She's my favorite now.
I love that. So that guy who was breaking the news like the person whispering into George Bush's ear on 9/11,
That is the moment of his life.
sitting behind the bench as Kevin Love is just with bated
Not
breath,
playing.
wondering, not playing, what had just happened to his life and his team. That dude, what did he say? We killed them. We robbed them.
We robbed them.
Rob them.
Robbed.
We got Wiggins.
I think it's again, if the name Kevin Durant had never come up, you'd be like, all right, given everything that's happened since January 1, this is a pretty good deal. The problem is, that for a window of time, and I'm telling you right now, I didn't talk about it yesterday on the show because I'm not cleared to talk about it, but that conversation was real. Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler straight up was a real conversation.
What does that mean you're not cleared to talk? Cleared by who? Air traffic control? Cleared by the source who you speak to?
Pretty much.
Who is controlling you, Amin?
Well,
That's very bizarre to me. That
I'm
you
not a
can't just-
newsbreaker, David, so I when people tell me stuff.
No, there's a good. I like this. I like the gradations of the terror alerts. That's a loaded metaphor for Amin. Just the
Gradation?
the gradations of I am cleared to say this. I have been told. I am hearing sources close to the situation.
I happen to know.
9 times out of 10, when I'm told stuff, it is not for public consumption. I only will reveal it when it has been reported somewhere else. And then I confirm, I heard the same thing.
So I'm the same way. We don't break news on nothing personal, but that doesn't mean I can't talk about a subject.
Well, I talk about it. I'm not going to say, hey, by the way, Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler is imminent. I can't say that.
Fair.
Which is what was happening
Other
yesterday.
people were saying it, though. That's what we
Not-
just
not-
said,
not
why
what-
people
not
are
when
upset.
we were on air. That happened after we got
That's
up
true.
here.
That's true. Look, it is true that you guys both know things that you don't say aloud. I often am the beneficiary of those things because I then get to launder it as my own sometimes. But what I want to point out about, oh God, Cortez has just texted me.
Oh, God.
Have you guys even mentioned PJ Tucker yet? Bro, we got PJ bleeping Tucker back.
Put the town on alert.
Cortez is basically that guy in the video we just played.
Oh, behind the bench?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly not Kevin Love.
But that guy,
I mean,
do you think that guy
same body
knew?
type.
Do you think that guy knew, Chris, that he was about to go again? One of the great clips of the NBA season.
It's also inaccurate, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, Schroeder ended up getting rerouted to Utah, which was convenient because the Warriors were playing the Jazz last night. So
Well, this guy was on top of it, though. He was quick because the ESPN story originally had exactly what he said. And I remember texting Jeremy. I was like, wait a second, there's got to be another move here, right? That's too many people. And then he had mentioned PJ Tucker in his text, and I was like, what the hell is happening? This ESPN story is bare bones. It doesn't have all the good information. So I had to search the internet for the rest.
Are we saying this guy choked? He had a moment in the sun.
It was
didn't vet his
premature
source.
exuberance.
You should have said, hey, Kevin Love, you're in the trade.
yeah,
Sorry, buddy.
get up, get your thing.
The power that he had to control news and information to freak out the entire Miami Heat.
You think they were freaked out that Jimmy Butler was?
I think it's well, actually, a fair question. If you're on the Miami Heat right now, Jimmy Butler, the temperature of this thing in the locker room has mostly been communicated through Kevin Love's memes on Instagram, in which it's conveyed to me they're not freaked out, they're joking about it.
Yeah.
What does it actually feel like, do you think?
Well, I mean, obviously Kevin Love is launched into a second career of superstardom just by posting movie clips that are relevant to the situation. But the funny thing is, David, I heard you talking the other day about telling players that they got traded, and Dan being like, well, there's a broken trust. I think it was a talk about Cooper Kupp. And it reminded me of years and years ago, Alvin Gentry told me a story that they were going to trade. He was working for the Spurs, and they were going to trade Ken Norman. And Ken Norman was notoriously like a tough guy. And so, Alvin, you got to tell him. And so Alvin's all nervous and stuff, and he's practicing in front of the mirror. Alvin's still kind of a young guy in the game at this point. And he goes up to Ken and says, Ken, we want to thank you for everything you've done for the organization. Unfortunately, we've decided to go in a different path, and so you've been traded.
You got to lead with the you've been traded.
You've been traded to Milwaukee, right? And Ken looks at him and says, "Do they have banks in Milwaukee?" And Alvin's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Then I'm fine. Cool." And he just says, "That's it." And that's most players. Most players, yeah, like this is a part of it. Now, obviously, the Luka deal is an example of like no one saw that coming. But if you aren't Luka Doncic, if you are a regular rank and file NBA player or someone who was suspended several times since January 1st, everyone knows something is coming. So it's not a shock or like, oh my God, what are we going to do?
Who won this trade, though?
Who won?
Who won this trade? With Pat Riley, with cardboard Pat Riley as my witness. I want a verdict.
Two things. One, it kind of looks like what I imagine other people feel when they turn on the show for the first time and see Pablo instead of Dan. And it's just like, this guy?
Puppet strings. We should get strings hanging from his fingers.
There's one clear winner to me. I can't believe we're even debating it. To me, the clear
Jimmy
winner
Butler.
is Jimmy Butler
Yeah.
because the Warriors gave him a $121 million extension.
111.
So he did not. Is 100? I thought it was
2 years
121. I'm gonna have to do a correction on nothing personal. Are you sure it's 121? Can you reveal your source?
Bobby Marks.
Okay, Bobby Marks says 111, not 121. Okay, all right. I gotta go retape something. But listen, player option gone. It's now guaranteed, 2 years, and age 36 and 37. So now it's only 55 and 56. I thought it was 60 and 60.
Yeah, 54 and 58.
But he's also in a place that is probably better suited for him to actually win something, even more so than Phoenix if he would have been there with Durant, because that would have been still a collection of random stars brought together maybe by Coach Bud, but probably not, versus the Golden State Warriors. And I keep pointing to that 2022 title. Like, history is going to show that one of the biggest anomalies, one of the weirdest championships ever, and they did it with half the team that was that, best team ever, 2017, 2018 team. So the idea that Jimmy can go in there and win a championship seems kind of real.
By the way, do you guys know what the Warriors also accomplished beyond gaining Jimmy Butler and giving him that deal?
Does it involve an apron?
Or the second apron?
They got under the first apron.
God. At some point, we're going to explain aprons.
Sure. It's this thing that you wear when you're cooking.
When you're cooking, so you don't
There should be an
understand.
NBA-related cooking show, right? And it becomes more restrictive the more aprons you wear, and you just kind of go from there.
The more you
Our
eat.
merch store has failed in not offering aprons. NBA deadline.
I'll wear
aprons. I don't want to see that.
Just an apron and thongs.
An apron and thongs.
I regret.
By the way, that's a Wednesday.
I regret.
Don't ever look at me like that again.
So much that has happened already. I regret the question I asked. Who won the trade? Really, what I wanted to know was who lied to us.
Who lied? Well,
Who
was
lied
there
to
a lie
us?
told?
I want to know. There was Jimmy Butler. There was Bernie Lee, Jimmy Butler's agent. There was the Miami Heat.
Bernie's always the answer. Who's lying? The agent. The agent is always lying.
So, what did he lie about? And was he lying successfully to the point where he got exactly what they wanted the whole time?
Look, the idea was that Jimmy wanted money. That's all this has been about. It's not about the offense changed around me. It's not about they didn't get me enough help. It's about Jimmy Butler has a track record of demanding he gets paid like what he thinks he's worth. And when he doesn't, he basically says, well, I'm going to go somewhere where they will pay me. And every step of the way, that's where it's happened.
So this is not a culture story.
No.
This is a money
This isn't a
story.
Shams story where Shams had the list of teams that the agent said, don't be ridiculous.
Well, Shams-
That is a total lie. Am I misremembering the story here where the Warriors were one of the 4 teams that Shams had and
So-
the agent for Jimmy Butler said, this is absolute horse hockey.
So this is an example of something where I can reveal. Where Bernie told me that, and I'm not saying that this is the truth, I'm just telling you this is what Bernie told me. Bernie told me they never requested a deal until the Heat suspended Jimmy the first time, and they said, well, if you feel like that, then you might as well just move him. Basically, if this is how you feel about Jimmy Butler, that you enough to suspend him for conduct detrimental, sounds like you kind of are done with him and you just want to get rid of him. That was the first time the words trade him had ever been uttered from the Butler side, but the reports and rumors had preceded that by a couple of weeks. And so that's Bernie Lee's point. Is
Well,
like, we
hold
never
on.
asked.
Okay, but this is an interesting dissection of what a lie is, because I imagine Pat Riley is saying, okay, you didn't say it, but you were pretty much making us feel like this was on the way.
Well, no, the idea that we want to go to Phoenix or Golden State or like a list of teams or all that. That's what Bernie was.
Oh, the specific
That's
geographic
what the conversation was. But this all started when the Heat went off for him an extension at
Right,
the beginning of the
right.
season.
But this is
So-
why Jimmy is both the winner and the loser here, because it was clear, based on all the reporting, that he wanted to get himself to Phoenix because he knew they would pay him. And maybe there was something else about Phoenix that he liked better.
Sure.
Maybe he thought the Warriors were past their ability to
State
win
tax.
anything at all. But they backed him into a corner approaching the deadline. Both the Warriors and Jimmy are kind of losers here because the Warriors didn't want to pay him. They ended up having to, and they were desperate for another star. Jimmy didn't want to go to the Golden State, but he's over there anyway. And so it's one of those deals where Jimmy had to back off and probably thinking, hey, they'll just leave me on the roster all year long because that's the threat that the Heat had.
Wait, why did the Warriors have to pay him? I missed that part of your.
Because in order for them to trade for him, he wouldn't play for them. He wouldn't sign an extension with them. Therefore, don't trade for me. That whole act.
Yeah.
That's what he did with the Warriors. Same thing he did with Memphis.
But let him just
supposedly.
play out the year and.
Okay, see how that works out.
But they gave up assets to get him. That's the whole point. You would like it's the same thing you just said. I wouldn't have done that deal without having a landing spot for Kyle Anderson. Oftentimes, teams when they've agreed to terms with the teams with the principles and numbers work, the next part is you give permission for that team to talk to the
Yeah,
agent.
baseball does that too, but the talks happen before that. You know that.
Of
And
course,
So
but-
Butler did that, but if you're the Warriors, you can also just call the bluff.
No, but David, you're not going to risk it. That's the point. You don't do that deal unless you know he's going to sign the extension. And so they talk to him and they figure it out, and that's why they do the deal.
Well,
you
part
don't risk
of,
it.
But I mean, to your point, part of like what I want to wonder about here is whether Jimmy Butler and Bernie Lee are good at this. Right, the idea of
they're
like
excellent.
We're so unpredictable and volatile that we might just get out of here as soon as you trade for me for all that stuff.
Are you kidding me? They're the Stockton and Malone of this. They're amazing. Like Bernie's doing this over here and Jimmy's doing that over there. I don't even know. By the way, they're so good at it. I don't even know if it's premeditated. I think they're both just doing their own chaos individually.
That's my question.
And it just fits perfectly.
Is this a strategy, or is this just exactly the right temperament you need to scare teams that are increasingly desperate for talent?
I say this all the time. In the NBA, they tell you be professional and da-da-da, and you don't like it, it's okay. You could put your request in, but you show up and you do your thing and be a good soldier. And I'd say it time and time again. If you do that, you're never going to get what you want. The only way you get what you want in the NBA is you make a big effing mess. And Jimmy Butler and Bernie Lee are masters of, we're done here? Okay, let's start effing up this place, flipping up tables and spilling drinks in people's faces. And, David, you could shake your head, but at every step, they've gotten to where they wanted to go, and they've
That's our
gotten
fault.
compensated.
There's no question.
Who is
but it's
the hour there?
owners? It's owners, presidents. It's you give in, and I can't stand it. It of course they're going to keep behaving that way. There's no
You
consequences
have a
to behavior.
we don't
you change
negotiate
it.
with terrorists position.
I learned from the best. Golda.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Harrison Ford in Air Force One.
Hi, Jeremy is back, and I don't know
Am
why.
I allowed to talk? Or
Do you have a
allowed
song?
to talk?
yeah, there's a song.
You're allowed to sing.
Chris?
These things right here, for letting all the ladies know what I'm all about. You know, the finer things in life. Check it out. Ooh, that man so sandalous, premium comfort, rocking it. Feet so bare, call him Paddington. At the meeting, fit right in. Am I a human or not? Not wondering what I got wrong. All because my thongs, baby. My thongs. Tell me that I mean nose, or maybe Pablo. My thongs.
The word toes was right there. Look at my
Put
toes.
your foot down.
Look at my toes.
No.
Put your goddamn foot down.
There was one word that made that entire song. Like sometimes
Sandalous.
one word makes a song, and sandalous.
Sandalous?
Is
I wonder
amazing.
who wrote that one.
It was Amin. Guys, I didn't know I was actually supposed to do this. I did that in 20 minutes, but thank you. Thanks for the
He
criticism.
looked so
Can I talk about
tired
the
when
Heat
he
now?
came back in here and like exhausted.
I should have just ghostwritten the song and gave it to him, but then we'd have to hear his takes.
Now we have to anyway.
He did call what I presumed was, a pretty intimidating bluff. But I guess.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I guess.
Jeremy's been saying for weeks they're a Wiggins away. So
Look, I have been saying as a joke, they could really use a wing that's a two-way player that, can help create for others occasionally, sort of like a Jimmy Butler. But Andrew Wiggins is really helpful to what they're doing right now. I actually, obviously, as I was making this, don't know what we were talking about for the last 25 minutes. I assume it was talking about how having Durant floated for the last 8 or so hours of these negotiations really deflated what should be looked at as a pretty solid deal considering the circumstances. You had a player completely force his way somewhere else. I'm happy that Jimmy ultimately got what he wanted in his money. I think the Heat are probably, in whatever petty parts of them, a little bit happy that it wasn't Phoenix, the team that he initially was trying to get himself to.
Okay, this is the question I have for you.
That's a fine.
Venmo
bucket.
Venmo bucket immediately.
Chris, do we have the Venmo fine chart?
We need the login.
Cortez. I can't get fined because Cortez is texting me more about PJ Tucker.
No, you're fine because your phone was on.
Phone interruption. That's $10, Pablo.
God, fine.
Luckily, it's not a Tuesday.
I do have Venmo.
Double.
the Venmo bucket is presented by, you guessed it, Venmo.
Jeremy, what is the propaganda spin here for the Heat? You were beginning to say that
Why am I always positioned as having a propaganda spin? Why can't I just cover basketball?
You were just saying that Jimmy Butler getting paid $100+ zillion by the Warriors was something that he could feel good about because it wasn't the Suns giving
I'm saying
him
whatever little petty parts of them want to feel good about waiting it out and trying to get the deal that they wanted as opposed to the one that Jimmy wanted in only for Jimmy. But the reality is it probably would have worked in some sort of machinations like this one to get him to Phoenix either way if Durant had just been willing to go to Golden State. So it would have been Wiggins and some sort of pick and what they got. David mentioned Kyle Anderson earlier and needing to reroute him. That's something maybe we'll see later today. Only to me, the importance of that is because if the Heat, I believe, get under the first apron, that they can go get someone on the buyout market. When the time comes, they could use another ball handler, a point guard that can help them initiate offense.
Slow-mo.
But what Wiggins does for them in what the present machinations of their starting lineup is in particular is huge. He's a gigantic upgrade offensively from what they have in Haywood Highsmith, but not a downgrade.
Is this a Heat culture bet? Where it's like,
he's
hey,
this generation's Luol Deng.
No,
bring
he's not.
Wiggins in into
don't
our system, and we can do some things.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky. That's completely different.
As far as the Heat is concerned, they get themselves a two-way replacement for a superstar that goes elsewhere.
But there's the difference is Luol was a guy that you knew showed up every night. And Andrew Wiggins, even at the championship peak, Andrew Wiggins, the consistency has been a concern. And so you look at his career going from Minnesota to Golden State, and yes, Tibbs and Jimmy can be rough, but this is going to be a cultural awakening for him, coming somewhere where the entire organization, not a couple of people, are very demanding.
Jimmy Butler is not a superstar today. His name, fantastic. Way to go. He had a great run with the Heat. He's not. They're talking about him and Steph Curry, one of the top 5 now duos in the NBA. I was trying to think like how quickly I could come up with those. I'm putting Wemby and Fox ahead of Curry and Butler today.
Not right now.
I think we also have a difficult time discussing Jimmy Butler generally because his regular season performance and playoff performance are so drastically different in terms of production and reputation.
The thing that infuriated the Heat, it turns out, this season is the thing that makes him special. Is the thing that makes him actually. I think Miles Brown put it on Twitter. He's like an aging old pit bull that can still like strangle you to death, but generally he's just not going to be as.
Mostly just sits around licking himself.
But you're still afraid of him.
That does make you a top 5 duo.
Pit bulls are very friendly.
The way Pablo started that statement, it sounded like you said. It turns out the friends. The thing that we discovered were the friends we made along the way, or whatever. No, look. Here's the deal. Jimmy Butler is every bit as potent as he's been the last couple of years.
Yep.
The biggest question is just like, are you healthy?
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest question. And so if he's healthy, it is a remarkable upgrade for Golden State to get us a secondary scorer who is consistent, who can score in a different way than kind of Steph Curry's whirling chaos around the court, and defensively keeps them at an elite level. The question is, though, is that enough to overcome Oklahoma City? Probably not.
They're still 9th in the Western Conference.
Yeah,
the odds are that they're a play-in team at best.
There's also the idea that there's a difficulty to play. You can't just drop in and play in the Steve Kerr, Steph Curry offense. Like there's a period of time that you have to learn everything. Whether Jimmy's willing to do that, whether he wants to break the plays more often and just get his own, that might be the bigger problem there, because he is not just a natural flowing offensive player. He's more of a rugged guy.
He's a ball stopper.
Ball stopper.
He's a ball stopper.
Well, and the irony for that is that was part of the issue in what they spoke about in terms of the on-court stuff for Jimmy down here. Is Eric Spoelstra worked with Steve Kerr at the Olympics over the summer. Bam Adebayo saw the way he could benefit from being part of an offense that looked a little more like that. They brought some of those principles here, free-flowing offense, shooting a bunch more threes. Andrew Wiggins and his skill set actually fit within that offensively, potentially better than how Jimmy Butler fits. You're not saying he's a better player. I'm not saying that in a playoff game when you need guys to go get their own bucket, that Jimmy still wouldn't have been the most potent version. But if you're building now around Tyler's skill set and Bam Adebayo's skill set, getting someone who can shoot more from distance as opposed to clogging up the paint like Jimmy was doing for Bam seems like a good match.
Thongs.
Are the only two places things get clogged are the paint and the toilet?
Throat.
Oh.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Who's Ed?
I don't know, but
He was pitching something, I bet.
there was.
At Radio Row?
I came in with the stated goal of having more fun than everybody in New Orleans. We're a split squad this week, and I don't know if we can have more fun than Stugotz was having, fake laughing. That's Sean Stellato, agent for Tommy DeVito.
Oh, I thought this fake laugh with Funny Marco, where they're having a fake laugh off. I was like, that's amazing.
That guy was Christian McCaffrey's dad, for the record.
That's Easy Ed McCaffrey?
Ed McCaffrey.
Ed McCaffrey.
In the Big Easy. Oh, how about that?
NFL Blitz legend.
Was that guy DeVito? Was he wearing a championship ring?
Yeah, I think he's wearing his Italian American Sports Hall of Fame ring.
That is a great. You found out. You just did Pablo some justice.
We interviewed him.
Right? He was wearing the same ring?
No, it was like right before he was about to be enshrined in the Italian
Of
American
course you
Sports Hall of
interviewed
Fame.
him.
Yeah, man. This show, we did it here.
I know, of course. Yeah. Look, Sean Cortez, is he here yet?
No.
Speaking of attention-seeking gas bags, whose throats I want to hear noises from. Cortez.
Go on.
Yeah, that was not a great intro. There you are.
What the hell was that intro? You're a professional podcaster and journalist. I'm embarrassed by that last 20 seconds. I don't know what you're doing.
Where's your PJ Tucker jersey?
Oh my God! So I just want to.
Where are
First
you?
of all, don't worry about where I am. I'm in Japan.
Nice staircase.
Beautiful background. David Samson was right. The text I sent you was alarming. It was not meant for air. I sent it to you at a time where I did not know we had PJ Tucker. That's what happened. And then I found out we got PJ Tucker and everything's okay. Like, today's a good day. I don't like how you guys are talking about this trade. Not only did we get PJ Tucker, we got a lockdown defender. Do you want me to read you some stats?
It's PJ Tucker. You just told us.
Well, no, not just PJ Tucker. I'm going to read you some stats. These are players' shooting numbers when guarded by Andrew Wiggins. Luka Doncic, 5 for 16. Anthony Edwards, 7 for 21. SGA, 5 for 12. Donovan Mitchell, 5 for 12. Cade Cunningham, Tony's favorite, 0 for 6. LeBron James, 3 for 9.
Not bad.
Boy, those are lockdown.
This is
It's a big sample size.
Well, those are all individual matchups this year, is
I
what Cortez
understand.
is reading.
And?
Well, no, I mean, the sample sizes are obviously small. It's more the idea of going up against the other team's best offensive player, having someone in that starting lineup that's like, you know what? I don't want to team myself with Cortez. He's doing stuff.
What I can't get over is
I'm
that
not
when
doing anything.
When Cortez is, what you're doing is moving around, revealing that you're not in Japan.
What?
It's a Japanese. What are you talking
No,
about?
don't
It's
move.
A
Just stay
garden.
perfectly still.
Can you look at his glasses? Does that look like the glasses of a man who isn't in Japan?
I do love those glasses.
Are an incredibly effective upgrade.
How is
rebrand.
anyone going to score at the end of a game when it's Hero, Wiggins, Jovic, Bam, and Khalil Ware? How are you going to score a point?
If they have a lead, they won't need to.
It's a good point. We're gonna have to score on our own, but defensively, it's in the making. It's
Started
in the
with
making.
Hero though.
I'm sorry, Cortez. I spent most of this week reading your posts, and they were all about how, Pat Riley doesn't have it. Jimmy Butler, you were on his side. This is, come on, man.
It's been a wild swing of emotions. I have, in the past 24 hours, tweeted about Pat Riley needing a new job. I have blocked Jimmy Butler on Instagram. And I do think Pat Riley's at fault here. I think he should have either paid Jimmy or traded him a year ago. Bringing him into this year with no new contract, no new teammates that are any good, not a good idea. But now that we're here, I mean, Andrew Wiggins, go ahead, Amin.
Cortez, I want to ask, because I have to know what your emotional level was like for those few hours where it was.
Oh, it was Durant?
Durant for Jimmy Butler straight up.
Where it got so heightened was I was texting people, would you trade Hero for Durant? Would you trade Bam for Durant? That's how bad I wanted Kevin Durant. I was willing to trade Bam Adebayo for him. So yeah, Pablo was asking, where were you when you heard the news? To me, that was an interesting question. I was watching The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion part 3, and I got the news about Jimmy.
I cannot believe you produced my show.
And it was I had to turn off the show because what I was trying to do is read text while watching the great reunion. I couldn't do it, so I had to turn it off. But that's what I was doing.
All I'm seeing is Ryan Cortez tweets from 2022 where he asks at KD Trey 5, have you ever had a guava pastelito?
That's not how you pronounce that. It's guava pastelito.
Ryan Cortez, Minister of Information.
This is ridiculous.
Amin said something interesting to me, too, where he was saying Jimmy and Bernie are masters at making a mess of this. Great point. I think in retrospect, if Dame Lillard had done this playbook in Milwaukee, not only did the Heat get him, but then domino effect, Jimmy no longer wants to leave, and then you've got Dame and Jimmy. At the time this was happening with Dame, I was saying, you need to make a mess. Dan was saying the same thing. It has to be Miami or nothing, and you make a mess of it.
It's exactly right. Damian Lillard is the example of professional, do it the right way, good soldier. And what happens? He gets sent not where he wanted to be and has been generally miserable pretty much over the.
Who wouldn't want to be in Milwaukee? I love Milwaukee. Do not impugn Milwaukee.
I love Milwaukee too, but that's not where he wanted to be.
So, Cortez, can you speak for Heat fans then? And how do we look back on this Jimmy Butler era? Do we feel bad for Jimmy Butler on the way out because it doesn't seem like he'll be embraced as much, or is this kind of the bed that he made?
No, I mean, look, at this moment, he's a traitor, and I don't want to retire his number. But
there you go.
The zoomed out view is obviously it's an enormous success. Zach Lowe wrote 2 months before the Jimmy Butler trade that the Heat had the bleakest future of any team in the NBA, and he wasn't wrong. I mean, it was insane that they got Jimmy and got to finals. I mean, when they got Jimmy, as Dan has pointed out, that was supposed to be move number 1, and then you get 2 or 3 guys. So the idea that just Jimmy, it was an enormous success. And I hope one day they do retire his number, but for now he's dead to me.
I don't like sober Cortez.
Cortez put on these circular glasses, and he woke up trying to be level-headed. And I just am not. Look, the one thing I am not today is fooled by Ryan Cortez.
I'm not fooling anyone. I mean, look, I would have preferred to have Kevin Durant. I think if we get Kevin Durant, you get me with sunglasses today, you get a different version. It's hard to put on the sunglasses when it's Andrew Wiggins. But lockdown defender, and what I'm really excited about is PJ Tucker. I can't lie. I like PJ Tucker more than LeBron James when it comes to what they meant to the Heat. That's a legitimate take that I have.
That's not a take. That's idiocy. There's 2 rings from LeBron. 2. How many rings from PJ Tucker?
Well, if you count the one that I count, which is they were up in the first 9 minutes of game 1 against the Lakers in that finals, and then bam, and Goran got hurt, I count that as a ring. So technically they have 1, to answer your question.
I love you.
Still 2 to 1.
That's the Cortez I like. I don't like the Cortez where he's giving me stats and stuff like that. I like the
very
Cortez.
monotone.
That's Cortez.
Oh, he seems medicated.
But he's always medicated.
Well, he's ooze tanking.
Ooze tanking, bro. You know what it is.
No, I don't.
Second round pick.
Row on you.
Can we get him out of here? I don't want this anymore.
I can't believe
PJ Tucker, before I leave, just mention PJ Tucker more. He's one of the all-time Heat culture players. It's Alonzo.
For the love
Mourning,
of God.
Pot him down.
Nice glasses, Cortez.
Yeah.
3 best Heat players.
It's fun to pot him down. We don't need to hear this anymore.
We're crushing Dan right now.
When he gets that floater and he
Get
just
him out.
drops it.
I can't.
Look, nobody Can we get someone in Miami who will just admit to feeling the deep fear of irrelevance? The deep fear
Yo, let me just tell
that
you right
we
now.
are not
Hold on.
going to care about talking about this
Hold on.
even a fraction as much anymore.
Pablo, hold on. I got to explain this for everybody, not just the listening audience, but also the YouTube audience, because the cameras don't capture everything at the right time. You started your statement. Can we just get someone in Miami who, and Jeremy stood up like, this is my chance. And then you said irrelevancy, and he just had this look like a dog that you fake threw a ball for, and it turns and it's like, wait, there's no ball. What happened? Just confused. Just utterly confused.
Irrelevance?
We're going to be talking about, you guys got to manufacture gin up PJ Tucker and Andrew Wiggins takes.
It's not.
That's what we're doing.
No one cares. We've been doing it too long. We haven't spoken about Pete Alonso. We haven't spoken about the Lakers.
Yeah,
Nobody
yes,
wants to
the
hear
show
about
cares
Pete
a
Alonso.
lot.
Pete
I gave
Alonso.
the best
Nobody
Pete
cares.
Alonso stat that's
What the hell
ever
outta here?
happened,
Why is
and
he
they
here?
kicked me out of the show. No one cares.
The Lakers have pulled off by the way, okay, I have another question for everybody. Raise your hand if you knew who Mark Williams was before he was traded to the Lakers.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Amin, Izzy, and Jeremy have to raise their hand, whether they have or not, just because
our
that is
job.
what they trade in. It's their job.
He was a first-round pick for,
He's
the,
really
for the
good.
Hornets.
Oh,
He's not really good.
Turns
because
out
he's always
You have
injured.
not seen a Charlotte Hornets game since.
He's always
Finish that sentence.
injured.
Larry
You don't
Johnson.
think the Lakers overpaid for Williams?
I'm sorry?
Did the Lakers overpay?
No. In a win now situation for the Lakers needing a center, no.
The reporting was that Luka really stressed to Pelinka, I need a lob threat.
which is kind of what Anthony Davis was saying. Hey, can we get someone to play center so I don't have to?
But, and it's true. If you look at everything that happened for them last year, it happened after they acquired Gafford, pretty much to go alongside Lively. So Mark Williams fits that bill. He's an incredible rebounder. He's a body in the paint, and he's young. A lot of other names that they were talking about were guys that were kind of over the hill. And if your thing is this isn't LeBron's team anymore, this is Luka Doncic's team, then yes, you go out and you get young. You don't get Jonas Valanciunas. You don't get Nikola Vucevic. Now, the problem is what they gave up, is what David is talking about, because they gave up Dalton Connect, who a lot of people like. He's a pretty good shooter. They gave up a 2030 first-round pick that's unprotected, and then a pick swap as well. Now, when you talk about those things, they're far enough in the future where, on the one hand, you can say, Luka's in his prime. Those picks will never be anything
He'll still be in
higher
his
than
prime at
18.
29,
Yeah.
won't he?
What?
The 2031 pick.
Yes.
Luka's 25.
Yes.
It's 2025 already.
Yes.
He'll be 31. Is that past his prime? He's
No,
done.
it'll be deep in his
the
prime.
end of his prime.
I don't think it'll be end of his prime. I think he doesn't have
Middle to end?
It does depend on the question of how in shape is he going to be now and going forward.
That, but also if he's healthy, he has a type of game that is not really reliant
I
on
agree.
explosion
Yes.
and athleticism. So his game will age better than the way Russell Westbrook's game aged, by way of example. But the problem is when you have an unprotected pick that far into the future, it's a massive futures gamble. We're basically betting. The Hornets are betting, I bet you're going to F this up by the end of this, by the time this pick
Yes.
is available. And the Lakers are saying, no, we won't, because we got Luka Doncic. The other part of this is, as I look at that roster, and Izzy, back me up on this, Luka, not a great three-point shooter. He's a volume shooter, but he's not a great shooter. LeBron, good three-point shooter, but mostly off the dribble when he's got the ball in his hands. Austin Reeves, not a great three-point shooter. Obviously, Mark Williams, not a three-point shooter at all. So you're looking at this roster, it's like, well, beyond Rui Hachimura and Dorian Finney-Smith, who neither of whom are really volume shooters, where's the spacing for this team?
They could use Steve Kerr.
Yeah, they could use a 58-year-old Steve Kerr.
This is me backing you up. That's all true, I mean.
Thanks.
Mark Williams, 43 games in 22-23. 43 doesn't sound like 81, but maybe there was something different. 23-24, 19 games.
It's box score stew over here. Look, if you've watched the games, you recognize this guy as a talent. He is exactly what Luka needs. There are plenty of people who I believe have been wasting their careers in Charlotte, and he is early one of them. I'm glad he's gone somewhere else. But unless you think Dalton Connect is going to be, I don't know, even J.J. Redick or some sort of, laser of a 2-3 combo guard or small forward, I don't think you overpaid for that. The Lakers are one of those teams where picks don't matter. It's just like the Miami Heat. Picks don't matter. I'm going to be good all the time.
But that's been the thing, right? That's what's come back in this build. That's actually been what's come back to bite the Heat a couple of times is, oh no, we gave up these picks to make moves earlier on, and now what do we do come this moment? At the same time, you need to maximize. Look, you have LeBron James and Luka Doncic on your team right now. This is the moment.
For the Lakers.
So one of the most honest things that people have kind of made fun of and ridiculed, but I thought it was an amazingly poignant point by Nico Harrison, was when he said, the future for us is 3 to 4 years. 10 years from now, we probably won't be here. And everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe you said the quiet part out loud. But the reality is, that is how the majority of teams do business. Like when Sam Hinkie, your beloved Sam Hinkie, was doing what he was doing in Philadelphia, our good friend Henry Abbott, who is the head editor at for ESPN.com for NBA coverage, was singing the praises of Sam Hinkie and what he was doing. And I told him, I said, Henry, it's all great. The math checks out. Too bad Sam won't be around to enjoy the spoils. And Henry told me, no, this ownership group is different. They're from Wall Street. They understand.
That was the mistake.
And my thing is, Henry, no, this thing is the same everywhere. Everyone thinks they've got the great math until their kid comes home from school crying because everyone made fun of them.
You said Sam Hinkie and Pablo has never been more lit.
But the thing Amin just referenced, perhaps hypothetically, was actually a thing that I am told was happening in Philadelphia.
Yes.
That Josh Harris, his kids were being made fun of because the Sixers were that bad.
Pablo, I called it before any of it happened.
No.
I told Henry, I said, look, this is how this works. It's not on paper. These are real people living real lives. You can't tell everybody, we're just going to lose, and then we'll figure it out.
But the real people living real lives thing, not on paper, typically that was an argument made on behalf of the players on the team, which was missing, I think, a through line from the 2 episodes we've done of this show, the 2 days we've done, which is follow the money. The owners are the ones who have these pressure points, whose incentives should be different from the people they employ to run their front office, right? They're going to be around in 10 years. But the people they pay to run the team statistically are not. And so the question is always, what's your time horizon? How long is this going to take? Will the people who you pay to be the stewards of your organization act as if they're the stewards of a future or a present? And the conversation right now about, like, in the NBA, has it ever been cheaper? Has a first-round pick ever felt cheaper? Right? Like, just like the market value right now.
Nico Harrison said, no, it's actually pretty expensive. I only got one.
But it's a funny thing, right? Mikal Bridges. Right? Five first-rounders. Rudy Gobert. Go down the list. That is an example of people saying, take our future. The present is what matters to us.
But the Nets have been doing that back in the Pierce Garnett days. I think the Nets did the same thing.
Yeah,
and they mortgaged their future. It didn't work. Then they had to start again, and it hasn't. It's forever.
But the question of who has the ability to start again, right? Which teams, which markets allow that? That is a key part of that privilege.
There's two pieces of math here. Piece of math one is, do we have a realistic chance of the ultimate success? Not to be good, but to win it all, right? Because that informs why, for instance, the Warriors will give up a first-round pick for Jimmy Butler, because they think his addition can give them a realistic chance to get one more of these, or to actually prove to Steph Curry we're doing everything we can.
They're betting on themselves.
Right, that's one. The other math is the people making the decisions. Do I feel job certainty? The reason why Sam Presti can do what he did was because Sam Presti knew, I'm not going to lose my job over this.
Well, and that's where, I mean, again, when I talk about markets, right? Oklahoma City versus Philadelphia.
Yep.
Right? Like, we're talking about, when I say who has the competitive advantage, David, I'm in a market in which the pressure point is not going to feel as painful.
Did you forget about Chicago? The Cubs did it with Theo. They lost 100 several years in a row. Baltimore's a big market. They lost, and guess what? They were there, won a World Series. It can be done. You just have to do it right. And it's not as market-related. Owners don't necessarily think the way you're saying. They don't have a GM in place saying, oh, take me through the tank and I'll fire you right when the tank's done and I'll have someone else.
But I think the argument from Philadelphia, to Amin's point and to my experience, has been owners tend to overestimate their rationality. and they underestimate how much it sucks to be made fun of.
Their stomach for this. They don't have the stomach for it, and nor should they. You just paid billions of dollars to be the cool kid. Remember when you talk about Mark Cuban? There's no way you could sell the team and still run the team. It's all built on that. The reason I'm spending billions of dollars on this is not because I'm going to flip it 20 years from now and make X fold. It's because I want to be the cool kid. I want when people come to my parties, how do you have Usher here? Oh, well, he's a good friend. You don't get to be friends with the cool people without this cool entryway, which is I own the team. And so if that's your starting point, you own this property because you want to look cool.
Yeah, the opposite of feeling embarrassed.
No owners feel embarrassed, though.
The real winner here is Chris Cody, who now knows what Kyle Anderson and Mark Williams look like.
That's two. That's good work. And you were late today.
Well, you got to bring that back.
Crushing it. Still bothering me.
You were saying, David, no owner.
When owners walk into a room, they're cool. People take photos. They want autographs. They're not like, oh, my God, you lost 100 games.
David, why do they want to?
They want to be near ownership.
No. Why do owners get autographs and give autographs and take pictures?
Because people want to be near power.
Near power of what?
Of any. Of
these guys are all
anything.
Hold on, these guys are billionaires, right? So before they own a team, they should have walked in the rooms and gotten photos,
go back
right?
to Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer is the number one example of this.
But David, there are some exceptions to I think your point, which is in general, these guys are living great lives. The team tends to outlast all of the temporary news cycles. They get to be a steward of the thing that is wired into people's childhoods. But then, of course, I think of, I don't know, what's it like to be John Fisher? What's it like to be, at the time, Dan Snyder? What was it like to be Josh Harris when the Sixers were tanking? What's it like to be these deeply unpopular people who get booed? Jim Dolan getting booed in the Garden.
Jim Dolan does a lot of things. Listen, our owner used to get booed, and there were negative things. There were negative things from this very show. Believe me, it did not in any way get into my life.
Why are we talking about the emotions of rich people?
Seriously, where did this go wrong?
The mistake is.
Why do we care?
The mistake
Pablo
here.
brought this up. He's trying to lead the show.
The point is a good one that Amin and I have been raising. The mistake has been the mistake. Look, the question is why are decisions made and how? It's because people tend to have a market inefficiency when it comes to you can feel embarrassment. Our mistake was asking David Samson to be a focus group on what it's like to feel embarrassment.
No, I mean, it's.
Is that like a stew laugh?
No.
What was that?
That was a laugh. I'm laughing at you.
You are the person who feels the less. Oh my
That's
God.
a good stew laugh.
That's a pretty good stew laugh.
Yeah, or funny Marco.
Nobody feels less embarrassment than David Samson, is my point.
I do not feel embarrassed.
You don't feel
Why would I?
embarrassed. You're not a billionaire, though. I'm not talking.
No, I'm not.
I'm talking about the guys that own the teams, and
they have thin skin. Most of them. I
Yes.
will grant you that. But what we're really supposed to be talking about is the Lakers. And did the Lakers make this move because they're in win now? That's why they were willing to overpay in order to get with
Again, it's
LeBron?
overpaying by your opinion. I don't think too many people are assuming that.
and again,
I'm the only one saying it's an overpay right now.
David.
Anybody who's seen Mark Williams play probably not agreeing with you.
David, the overpay. If I'm going to go down your side, I say yes, it's an overpay. But the overpay isn't Dalton Connect. It's the first round pick because it is unprotected and it is far enough in the future where we don't know what that team is going to look like.
That should have gone to Dallas.
Right? Sure. The point I'm making is that Rob Pelinka doesn't give a about 2030. He's like, who cares? Am I going to be around for that? Probably not. Maybe. If I am, cool. I'll worry about it then. But for him, the future is in the next 3 or 4 years. That's real. What Nico Harrison said applies to every general manager not named Andy Ellisberg, R.C. Buford, and Sam Presti.
Yesterday he said, I can't wave a wand and manufacture a big man. Did anyone else see the quote by Rob Pelinka?
Mm-hmm.
We need a big man, but I can't wave a wand to make it happen. Well, of course you can wave a wand. All you have to do is overpay. And they did it to Charlotte, and all of a sudden they got a big man.
Overpaying, though, is I'm with Izzy. Like, I do not think this is an overpay. I think this is an example of one team needing one thing, another team needing a different thing.
What? Why
are you holding your phone?
Sorry to interrupt, but this is the perfect time for this. I just got the email confirming the polishing of the World Series trophy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because we're all after that. And
I'm
the
sorry.
problem with overpaying,
you sent your trophy out to be polished.
You have to.
That's got to be a Venmo.
It has to be a Venmo. Like, this is the worst phone interruption of all time. We were talking about basketball, and now we're talking about polishing your trophy?
No, we're actually talking about winning it all, which I thought was exactly the through line.
What
of
does
what
it
the
cost
Lakers
to
are
get a
doing
World
to win
Series
now.
trophy polished?
I'm sorry. Did I misunderstand what the conversation was?
All
Izzy?
the time. You misunderstand it all the time.
To me, we're talking about the Lakers trying to win it all.
Did you
talked about Steph
Google
Curry
World
having
Series
one more
trophy
shot?
polishing company? How did you figure out?
From Tiffany. You bring it back to Tiffany.
Tiff.
So is the NBA trophy.
Sounds like we're having a tiff.
It comes in.
No,
that,
I just.
It comes in that,
Of course, I knew what we were talking about because I'm paying attention and I'm on time.
My only surprise is that
Time.
David Samson did not demand to be in the room so he could watch his trophy getting polished.
well,
That's a horrifying.
In a towel?
Dear God.
Definitely not in a
Wearing
towel.
wearing only an apron.
No, this is a true story. I brought the trophy to Tiffany wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and I was stopped by Tiffany has a ton of security in the New York store on 57th Street, and I looked schleppy. I had a toque on, and I had a hoodie and sweatpants.
Toque and a cool.
And I was carrying a World Series trophy, and the assumption was that I had pilfered it.
the World Series trophy.
And I was bringing it to fence it.
You're just walking down the street in New York with the World Series trophy?
I would had to bring it.
Unboxed, no
I
cover, no
can't be-
sheet.
It doesn't come in a
Yes, it
box.
does. It comes in.
It was in a Tiffany bag, but it falls down so the flags are poking out like a little groundhog on
David,
February
there's a
2nd.
carrying case. That's where they wheel it in and wheel it out.
So, no.
Wait, I just want to process this.
Okay.
I'm surprised David could carry the World Series trophy.
Sometimes when I go to a friend's apartment building and I'm carrying like food that I brought over, I am asked what restaurant I'm delivering from.
Yes.
David Samson finally got to feel that because he was holding the literal World Series trophy in the Tiffany lobby.
Yes, and I was stopped multiple times, and the only way to prove it, because there's no receipt for it, I had to have them Google, and that was hugely mortifying for me.
Dude, I just love the idea.
And then they let me through.
There's a
It
penalty
was
for this,
crazy.
right? There's a penalty for this. Like, what?
Major asshole.
Yeah, major asshole.
That's
Can we
the
do that one?
Izzy.
Yes,
my
it's on your
God.
stream deck. You
Oh,
just
hold
gotta
on.
look for it.
You've got the little
You're in
device
charge.
there.
All you have to
This
do is
good
hit the
hosting.
button.
You don't have to
that's
ask
white
permission.
woman, white
Yeah.
guys.
All
The
we
white
care
guys,
about-
you know, they
It's
can
not
do
a
that.
white guy thing. Wait, why is it a white guy thing?
Sports ownership mostly.
Seeing it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, other
Money.
menu. Oh
Not
my
getting
God,
shot
there's
or
another
tackled at
menu.
Tiffany's also as well.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
We've got a penalty, 5 minutes. Major asshole.
Major.
You're letting this go to your head.
There it is.
Oh.
Proof that David and the trophy are not the same height.
It looks like David climbed out of the trophy.
That
that
was
shirt, a
the
medium?
picture that was used that enabled me to get it polished.
Why are you still here?
Yeah. You need to,
Izzy, man.
hey, he's got a good point.
5 minutes. 5.
I love the idea, by the way. This man stole the World Series trophy, and where is the first place he went with it? Tiffany's. I got to get it polished before I can fence it.
This guy who clearly doesn't actually own this thing does want to make sure it's very well taken care of.
To reshape a little bit of what David was saying and to maybe give him a defense is
Oh, boy.
Charlotte can feel good about the move they made. I don't think that it should be the Lakers feeling like they overpaid.
And why should Charlotte feel good?
Charlotte can feel good about getting a first-round pick, a pick swap, and a young player in Dalton Connect for moving on from a guy who has been injured and maybe won't be working with the core that they're building right now. They kick the can down the line.
It's a timeline thing.
It's a timeline
absolute
thing.
This is what I'm saying.
That's the thing both of you were trying
So
to
my,
say.
my co-host yesterday on the radio was like, how could Charlotte do this? Am I the only one who likes Mark Williams? Like, no, I like Mark Williams too. It's just, is Mark Williams a franchise player? Well, no. It's moving him going to materially impact the Hornets' future. Well, no. Well, that's why you give him. It's nice to have, but you go get some stuff that could be even better. What I was trying to say to David, and David tried to fight it, which is the idea that the Lakers make that move, in part because Rob Pelinka doesn't care what happens in 2030.
Yes. This is by the way, to bring it all the way back around to our frustration as to why Kevin Durant didn't get traded.
Right.
The Phoenix Suns have been the number one example in sports history of saying all we care about right now is the present.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, we will take a payday loan from Danny Ainge, take 3 first-rounders, whatever it is, right? Give us that. We'll give you everything such that 2031, basically we're behaving at the Phoenix Suns organization as if the apocalypse will come in 2030.
Mm-hmm.
We'll all be wiped off the planet. It's the global warming theory, just it's happening in 5 years.
And like I said, there's 2 parts of it. One part of it is the I don't give a we're not even going to be here anyway, right? But then there's another part of it, what Golden State is doing, what I think Phoenix in theory was doing, which is we've got a special talent. We owe it to them to give them every tool possible to go out and win right now. It's the same thing for the Lakers with LeBron. It's like it's hard to look at this guy who's an all-time great, who's still playing at a high level and say, yeah, we're just going to punt this year, and then we'll see how it goes next year. You can't say that to those guys at that age. So they're trying to say the window's open now. We can't just expect it to be open forever. Mike D'Antoni used to tell the story all the time that Dan Marino told him. He went to the Super Bowl, his second year in the league or whatever, and they lost, and he said, that's all right, we'll get them next year. And then never went back to the Super Bowl. You can't sit around thinking, oh, we'll just get better, and eventually we'll get back, and it'll be all right. You don't know how long this window's open. So they've got to force their way through, but also what reinforces that behavior is the knowledge that, hey, if this doesn't work out, doesn't matter. Because I'm not going to be holding the bucket when that happens anyway. It's some other poor schmo who's got to inherit that situation.
I mean, you want to hear a scenario that's going to either make you laugh or drive people crazy? I hand it over to Jeremy.
So Phoenix is terrible, right?
There's more. I thought just handing it over.
Yeah, just me in general is not great for everyone listening. But the Phoenix is in a terrible spot now, right? Because they've shown Kevin Durant they were willing to move on from him. And their team is relatively mediocre, and Beal has been, as is obvious, an impossible guy to move, a contract to move. So what's to say that this offseason they don't decide now's the time to blow it up, that they look at Houston and they take Devin Booker and they say, hey, we'll take all of our picks back plus more.
Buddy, let me tell you something right now.
Wait.
I know we're on the week of like Luka Doncic got traded, but Devin Booker.
No, let him get there.
Okay, go
well,
ahead.
all of this was to set up is the idea of, is Durant not an equally depressed asset come this summer, and why overpay now and know that type of guy could be available in the same
Is
respect.
Pat Riley eventually going to land Kevin Durant?
This is the 5th pursuit. No, I think that Phoenix is the most interesting team at the end of all of it. At the end of all of this, it's Phoenix that's most interesting because of the lack of movement, not the additions. They're the team that I'm looking at and going, look at those 2 guys who are now sitting right there.
They're holding
on
out.
that roster.
They're denying reality.
And they've been doing it for a year.
Yes.
For everyone who looked at the
everybody-
Heat and said the same thing, like it was a team that was forced to look internally and decide to go with a younger core in Miami. But Phoenix is in one of the strangest positions of any franchise in the league.
The Suns are catastrophically run. Their owner, we've done this, of course, on Pablo Torre Finds Out. We did an episode about Matt Ishbia, about how he runs his organization. It is uncoincidental that he runs his organization like someone who is familiar with mortgages. He is the mortgage king of America.
Subprime.
I mean, look, the details are in the piece. It was lawyered and for reasons that are I think going to be obvious to you. But in terms of timelines, he has run that team like he is going to disappear in 2030. And this raises many questions. But one of the questions I have is it the case now, motivated by Jeremy's observation, that Kevin Durant actually was too good a soldier? He needed to be a worse soldier. The bad soldier theory of getting what you want. He needed more Jimmy Butler in him.
What did Kevin Durant want, though? He didn't want to go to Golden State, and that's why no deal was made, because he didn't want to go there. What does he actually want? I don't know, and I think he would probably hazard all of us from guessing what he wants, because you guys don't know who I am and how I think. I'm like, okay, dude, relax. But
he flexed the power to not get to Golden State and probably just didn't want to do any more than that. And Miami was sitting there, and those 2 teams couldn't come to a deal. So he says, all right, I'll chill out in Phoenix, which is where I wanted to be to begin with. That at least seems to be where Kevin Durant is at. It makes all of this that much more interesting that a player like that was available and now goes into a year where he's an expiring contract next year for anyone around the league to look at what's going on in Phoenix and go, is it worth moving something to go get that guy? And would Phoenix be willing to do it now another summer into a season that, unless they go on some sort of really ridiculous special run that no one anticipates, will be another disappointment?
I mean, I think you look at it and you got an expiring deal. As you said, he's in the last year of his deal next season. Beal has proven to be difficult to move. Booker's not going to get moved because he is the everything for that franchise. And despite them acquiring those picks a couple of weeks ago from Utah in order to give themselves some flexibility, they don't have a whole lot of flexibility in terms of what they can make happen that's savory, that upgrades that roster. And that second apron looms large above them. Durant might be their only way out in terms of getting out from under this and trying to run this the right way.
Are we just the second apron thing, right? Before we just fully feed yet more Miami propaganda, the second apron thing, Amin and David. I don't want to get into the weeds of explaining what that is because it's just, I guess the summary is it's an even more punitive tax on top of the tax teams used to pay. But what we're saying is that this rule has changed the economy of basketball transactions.
Yes, but not because of the financial impact. That's what the problem or the...
Explain. Please explain.
So once upon a time, the league said, we're spending too much. We need to curtail spending. How are we going to do it? If you spend beyond this number, which is way above the salary cap, we're going to institute a dollar-for-dollar luxury tax. Ooh, that'll stop guys from spending. But guess what? It didn't. People kept spending. So they said, in the next collective bargaining agreement, we got to do something crazier. I know what it is. It'll escalate. So after $10 million above, it'll go to $150 for every dollar. At $20 million, it'll go for $250, et cetera, et cetera. That didn't do it. Then they said, we'll have repeater taxes. So if you've been in the luxury tax habitually, your tax is actually even bigger of a jump from threshold to threshold. That didn't stop. And they realized, you know what's going to stop people from overspending? It's not money. It's not fines. It's taking away the ability to improve the roster. Hey, we're going to stop you from signing and trading. Hey, when you do a trade, it has to be 100% salary for salary match. Hey, you're a mid-level exception, way smaller than everybody else's. And that's what this is right now. This is the fully realized, if you do these things, you can spend however much you want. But if you do, you better hope you love your team, because if you don't, like the Phoenix Suns, changing becomes immediately very, very difficult.
So it's working.
Hi, David.
Yes. It's finally what they wanted.
This is what you tried in baseball. It was called the cone tax, and the irony is the cone tax is now the Dodgers tax. It's a level of threshold that is punitive, and now there's picks involved, draft picks, placements in the draft, and in a capped sport, it becomes even more critical to have these punitive things. And I would argue it's been working. You have an owner right here in Miami. Mickey Arison, for all the love that we give him as the best owner in South Florida, he focuses on the luxury tax tremendously year over year. I don't know if Izzy disagrees. Izzy just will not agree with anything I say today. That's fine.
That wasn't me singing.
Ooh, that man so sandalous.
Are you going to deny that Mickey Arison is
How is
not
David
hear
not aware of
Mickey
how the show
Arison.
works?
I will not hear Mickey Arison hatred, because somehow he's been able to own a team and still be fiscally responsible while allowing Pat Riley to do his thing for 30 years, and they've been relevant for a long time. So maybe he's doing it right.
So what you're saying is that maybe. Okay.
Are we?
No, we're still on the air. You can go a little bit longer.
Is there a penalty for that?
I have been trying, David.
I am trying to do the show. I'm leaving.
I don't
That's
know.
it.
Chris, play the sound.
Button. Press the button.
Ooh, that man so sandalous.
So Dan versus Dan was last night? Or Dan
I've
and
been
Dan?
seeing photos.
Asks.
The last Dans, I've been
last
calling
One.
it. Whoever wins, we lose, I think, is what
That's
the
the
Alien
tagline?
vs. Predator movie poster used to say. Also applies here, potentially.
It went great. Why are you?
Did it?
Yes.
Did you watch it?
It was. I was getting reports the whole night.
Oh,
from
who?
people
From
on the
Dan?
ground.
Oh.
There are
No, how
lots.
can I tell you he was on the
There are
stage?
photos of the crowds, the crowd size, guys, very big.
That's Dan and Dan.
There it is. Dan's melting into the chair with
The
that
only
brown
negative
jacket.
is that we had people in place, and I think that all of you will appreciate this more than I did. Dan showed up pretty much just to get on stage.
Dan
There
Patrick or Dan
Le
Le
Batard.
Batard?
There was no green room situation. There was no prep. There was no anything.
No mingle?
No nothing. Now, after the show, he did major meet and greets, major
Okay.
VIP stuff.
All right. There
No,
you
no.
go.
But when you're on tour
Uh-huh.
for a show, he did a full, even Springsteen, Mick Jagger. You're getting there early. You're sort of getting set up. Dan went car, stage.
That photo is just hilarious. I can't tell where the chair ends and Dan starts.
It's just his head popping out of a chair.
I was just trying to think if that's the outfit he wore to do the show on Tuesday that he recycled again for Wednesday. But it actually went great. It was sold out. There were a ton of people who got to spend time with Dan after the show, which was
Dan.
great.
Dan.
Our
well,
Dan.
Our Dan loves taking photos with the people.
Well, the people love to be with him.
Not really. He doesn't love it. It's just a way to get out of whatever situation he's in. Come take a photo. Okay, now leave.
Yeah, he doesn't have to talk that way.
Oh, Izzy, I think
He would rather
actually
have
loves being with people.
1,000 small talk conversations than one conversation.
He
that,
feels the gratification
requires-
from the fans, and
No, it's legitimate. Like at Moss every year, he does this.
Well, listen to the thing. Dan is genuinely appreciative of
Yes.
the love and support. But also, Dan is the anti-Amin. Amin will go and give someone 15 minutes of show if it behooves him, right? Dan is like, I don't want to do any show. That's why the photo is such a great opportunity. It's, I gave you the most meaningful interaction possible that also costs me nothing.
Dan will do show with them, but it'll be South Beach sessions, and he'll be like, when have you cried last? Are you in a happy place when you listen? He really wants to get in there.
Do we know what they talked about?
I just know that.
I like how the one thing we need reporting on is our own companies,
Which we don't have clips on for some
We
reason.
I could tell you what Kevin Durant is thinking this whole time, but I can't tell you what happened.
You're allowed to talk about that?
David was mad that we hadn't said the word Super Bowl.
No, Pete Alonso is actually what he was mad about.
Well, I was upset about both because it's Thursday, and I was picturing Adam Silver doing the Snoopy dance because Roger Goodell is on the back burner. There's shows, and we're sort of looking. It's been 40 minutes or 84 minutes, and there are other shows just getting to Super Bowl now, having started with Jimmy and the Warriors.
I'm just going to read the Chiron on First Take. What will the Super Bowl come down to?
This is my favorite thing because I saw someone tweeted at us either yesterday or earlier this morning saying, please don't spend the show talking about Jimmy Butler and the Lakers trades and all that stuff. It's Super Bowl week. And I said, the operative part of the word news is new. What's new, Super Bowl? If you tell me right now something we didn't know about the Eagles or the Chiefs that we've learned in the last 24 to 48 hours, I'm pleased to have that conversation. If it's just
The
who's
Chiefs
going to
have
win.
no injuries.
That's new?
Yes. There's no one on the report.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing
So
to have
that's
no
what
one
it's,
on the report.
that's what it's coming down to.
That's big news.
All right. Okay, they're not hurt.
What I would like to
And we covered it.
what I would like to tell the NFL in this moment is you gotta earn it. Earn it.
Gotta wanna earn.
Outcompete.
Eugene Robinson, go out there, get arrested doing
League
something.
don't want to earn.
I'm just saying, I'm happy to not talk about the Heat, trust me, but the NFL, I'm so far Dan looking like a couch is the #1 story coming out of New Orleans.
I mean, it's a pretty good story. Look at that. Look at that picture.
It's like that Always Sunny where Danny
where
DeVito's
they
climbing out.
He's all greased up.
If he had gotten there earlier, we would have changed out the chair or his pants.
Can we do that?
Oh, you can do anything with time.
Or money.
Well, always.
I have a couple of questions. What decade do you have to be from to know what the Snoopy dance is?
Ooh, 20
Also,
CD.
Pablo, why do you think that people think you're a food delivery person?
Do you not see how he dresses like a schlep?
Oh, that's why. That's how he
That's
dresses.
why. Okay.
Members only windbreaker. He's got
That's schleppy?
the onset of a potential paunch for someone of his young age.
I do have
His hair is
What's a
always
paunch?
messed up.
What's a paunch?
I do have early
understand
onset
euphemisms.
paunch.
It's he's very.
Ponch was a cop on this television show
Too
called
real.
Chips.
That's not true.
Oh, it's Eric Estrada.
So he's growing an Eric Estrada.
Yes. But it's all but it passes as Italian for some reason. We're doing a show for Greg Cody only, right?
And he always walks around with bags. So Pablo's like got stuff, and it's not organized. It's not like a briefcase. And you walk around
I'm
with
busy
food.
finding out stuff. Sorry.
Well, he walks around the city and he's sort of collecting food in bags. And then I picture him walking into a lobby and being stopped like you're heading into Tiffany with the trophy. Like people looking, you're like, what apartment's that for?
I picture you walking into Tiffany's and them thinking, where's the tall one from the Wet Bandits?
Daniel Stern.
Well, they're looking for Daniel Stern because...
Right.
Yeah.
More of
You
a
just
Joe Pesci
referred
guy
to the
than
Home
Daniel
Yeah, I
Alone robbers by their gang name.
The Wet Bandits.
Is that how Daniel Stern is known?
Number one? Yes. Home Alone by far.
Yes.
More so than City Slickers?
Not bushwhacked.
Or Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the year for me, man.
I'm just
Yeah,
glad we got
I'm not-
Roy in here. Roy got lured out with
Hot
with
ice.
Celtic
You
Pride.
heat up the ice cubes.
That's
It's the best
actually.
of both worlds.
You know what? It might be rookie of the year.
It's Home Alone.
I know
Are you?
it-
You
Hold
guys
on.
are.
It's
high.
a better role though.
It's-
that rookie
Home
of the year role
Alone.
is fantastic.
This is like what's Arnold Schwarzenegger known for, and you guys are like Jingle All the Way. No.
Good flick.
What?
But remember when he gets
Kindergarten
stuck
cop,
between the
clearly.
doors, knocking on the doors of the hotel room, and
Little
the
help
both
here.
doors closed?
Little
Help
help
here.
now.
Let him know.
Help me now. Little help now.
A
here.
paint can hit him in the face, and then he stepped on a nail with no shoe
Oh,
on.
wait, hold
died
on,
in
hold
that
on. Amin got some Obama in his paint can, hit him in the face just then.
A paint can hit him in the face.
Now that's SNL
You
worthy.
just learned that I do a really good
No,
Obama.
but I hadn't heard it in person before.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get to Stephen A. Being a Democratic candidate for president as Barack Obama has learned the news?
Got a couple presidents in here too, if you need them.
Let me be clear. When I heard the news that Stephen A. Smith decided he should run for office, I said that's a great American. Now, some folks across the aisle don't like that. They want Skip Bayless to be the nominee. But I told my family, Sasha, Michelle, Malia, that
Gets me every time.
Stephen A. Would make a fine candidate. Now, Stephen A. Wait, hold on. Hey, Joe, wouldn't you agree with me?
Listen, man. He's a good guy. He's got it. He's got real pizzazz. I like him.
Now, Stephen A.
Is he
is
from
It's
Scranton?
the hands every time,
Is
right?
he from Scranton?
It's the hands and the losing breath as soon as he starts talking.
What does old Donald Trump believe about Stephen A?
Oh, who does a good Trump here? I don't. I've tried, and I
We
realize
don't.
I can't do a good
He
Trump.
talks sports, all right? He talks a little bit, and he doesn't do it well, okay? He talks way too much, if you ask me.
Okay.
It's not terrible either.
I mean,
I mean, it's the only option we got.
This is
not terrible.
this is
It's a
Hall
real
of Fame week.
binary equation you're giving approval to.
No, we didn't do the lips part. You got to do the lips. You have to have the
and,
fuller.
and the fingers. A lot. You know,
lot of fingers.
You know who does a really good Trump? Brad Williams. Brad Williams is a really good Trump because he does the hand movements really well. I heard a lot of people do good Trumps. Godfrey does a good Trump.
There's a lot of Trump.
Our buddy Josh Rosen obviously does a great Trump. He actually makes money. Has a Trump impersonator.
How much money does he make?
Enough to pay his bills. Yeah.
You know this. You've seen the W-2.
I've seen Josh Rosen and I've seen him play
You
places.
think he gets a W-2 for that?
$10.99 probably.
Yeah, it's not. He's not. He's not getting benefits on this shit.
And Brad Williams and Donald Trump, same size hands.
It's true.
Nice.
But,
Well done, Roy.
But guys, you guys aren't talking about the real president. We're talking about 2028, baby.
2% Stephen A. is polling in this.
What's
one.
the plus or minus? What's that called? What's the margin of I'm blanking. Someone please help me.
Margin of error.
Margin of error. What's the margin of error on that poll?
2.
Please tell me it's more than 2%.
It's unclear to me.
So then
I'll
it
give you
could
some
be
of the
negative?
details. It's a McLaughlin and Associates poll, and oh God, Kamala Harris is still leading the pack, 33%. Pete Buttigieg, 9%. Gavin Newsom, 7%. Stephen A. Smith, 2%.
I've often said that if the fires happened on my watch, they would have been put out immediately, because the fires don't want to make an enemy out of me.
Do we really see him as a Democrat? Because he said that he was an independent years ago.
We heard that from.
You certainly can't come out as a Republican running for 28 at the moment, because the thought is that there's going to be a third term in there.
Right.
So you
Is
wouldn't
that
wanna,
is that now are we talking? Is that where we are at?
Oh, that's
it's
not
been-
where
it's
I'm
been-
at,
it's
but
been-
that's
it's been
been
broke.
Define the Constitution, yeah.
Classic.
Oh, it's please. We're not in the last 4 years.
Definitely didn't try to
look,
warn you guys.
Stephen A. Smith, I just want to tell you, picturing him at a debate, a presidential debate, thinking that he's doing one of his shows on ESPN.
David,
That's all it is now.
That's what State of the Union.
That's what Trump did at the debates.
Yeah.
Just like turned it into a
That's all it is. That's a reality
can't.
show.
you want to talk to me about taxes? Come on. Let me tell you something about taxes.
I'll trade him.
And then never actually say anything about taxes.
No, because all he's got to do is just name out the resume of taxes. Now, we've had taxes since Eisenhower. He had them at 90%. We dropped them, and they've been very, very beneficial. Roads, schools.
He'd be almost the richest president.
Almost the richest
Almost.
president?
Yeah.
Almost.
For real. I mean, he's about to sign and become the highest paid employee at ESPN. He'd have more
He's
money.
not already?
In theory, than even Trump himself.
Maybe I'll take his spot at ESPN.
Oh, my God. That's
First
Joe
take.
signed with
just,
CAA.
He did just sign with a major Hollywood talent agency.
Yes, he did. They did a whole announcement about it. The Speakers Series. Now, you can make a lot of money. Of
course.
There's a lot of 1099. Obama.
Yep.
Ooh, cashing in.
Bill?
On the
Bill was cleaning up on that circuit.
You make appearances when you've been president.
Some
you
people
can rock
write.
it.
Some people, I'm reliably informed, write books to go on the speaker circuit.
Of course.
Like that's the actual game.
Did
Have
not
you
write
met
that book.
Stugotz?
You mean he's gonna go on a liar circuit?
No, he's just going to cancel. He's going to make appearances and then cancel.
By the way, I got a report from New Orleans here. Everyone
Oh.
Super Bowl week talk.
Yeah. Let me straighten up in my chair.
Does anybody do a George W. or George H. Bush impression?
You work on that
Okay.
while I give you this update from New Orleans. Stu was looking for another Stu to do a competing Stu versus Stu show. He put out an ask for Stu Feiner.
Oh my God.
There it is, our New Orleans update.
Is that news?
It is.
Is that Super Bowl news because it's new?
Well, it's new and it came from New Orleans.
And who's the source of that?
I can't reveal my sources.
Can we talk a bit about the thing that we saw at the White House yesterday?
I didn't see anything at the White House.
I want to show you, actually. I want to show you a clip that caught my eye. If we can play something that Chris Cote is very cleverly, there it is, very good, and play.
And Tommy Tuberville, a great coach. You know, his quarterback was named Mahomes. He was a great college coach. And I said, how good was he? He said, you don't want to know how good. He made me into a great coach. He's pretty good quarterback, right? Yeah, he was very good. He's a good guy, too.
I just want to be very clear about this. This is not a political take. Donald Trump does not know ball. Donald Trump does not know sports. He is around sports. He has spent money on sports. He shakes hands with people who play sports. He has no idea what anything is.
Do you believe that someone writes that speech?
No.
No, that's him. That's him winging it. They do write speeches for him. He wings it though.
That is him looking at Senator Tommy Tuberville and saying, "You're the guy who coached Patrick Mahomes famously. We all know that."
How come no one in the background noticed that it was wrong?
No one sets up a sound after we've listened to it better than Pablo.
Hold on. Let me just point something out. You said
and play.
Nobody corrected him. How about Tommy Tuberville didn't correct him? He said he's a pretty good quarterback. He said, very good. Tommy Tuberville went with it. Yeah, I coached him in 2012 when I was
going to correct the president in that
This
situation?
is why I bring it up. This is what's happening. Again, I'm not trying to do a political argument here. I am just saying this is happening in 1 million different ways across all sorts of stories that are not actually anything this dude cares about.
There are way more important things we could be talking about, but there's plenty of other presidents when they welcome teams to the White House. There's speeches that are prepared, and when they try to go off script, George Bush did that and made a mistake. You're not going to correct him on the.
What did he say?
You're not. He said something about a game that he said that he had watched of our World Series and he hadn't watched it.
You didn't.
And we're not
You
gonna-
didn't correct him.
What? Are you kidding me?
I would have.
You're with the president.
I would have sworn
in the White House.
I would have sworn that you would have just
interrupt.
Yes, yeah.
Interrupt the remarks while presenting.
It
the
was Brad
jersey.
Penny that started, not Al Leiter.
I could absolutely hear Samson's voice from the background. He's standing behind.
I respect the office. I wish people in the office respected the office, but I respect the office.
Would you have corrected him after he was done speaking?
I may have.
There you go. Like, I appreciate the kind words, Mr. President, but, right? You did that?
Now, that's funny. I didn't call him Mr. President.
God.
Wait, how did you address him?
President Bush.
You said you
Should
called
I
him
have said Mr.
Mr. President, yeah.
It's interesting. I did not do that. I did not do that.
But you did correct.
No,
I wish you
we
hadn't
talked,
just done
we
that.
we talked after. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
you
trying-
made all the Marlins employees call you Mr. President.
No, David. You'd
Yeah.
know that if you had worked for the Marlins.
Yep. You would also wear a tie.
Just David.
For at least a couple
Only
months.
until June. Only until the first sign that, oh my God, is it hot in this frickin' town?
What's that?
Oh.
I'm down on Trump.
Okay,
and what he's
great.
doing with the transgender and all the executive orders. But I just want to point out that what he did with
Tuberville.
Tupper. He said Tupper.
Tupper.
You'll
Yeah,
get it.
like Tupperware.
Keep saying it. You'll find it.
I'm having a hard time enunciating it, except to say that I give him a pass on that.
I do not in the least.
I know, but I don't want him to know that. I'd prefer my president not to actually.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Spend time on that type of stuff.
Sure. In any other timeline, the idea that a president tried to make a sports reference and face planted would be otherwise not symptomatic of a larger trend.
Agreed.
A troubling trend insofar as the background of that video, which, to Chris's point, I did not do a great job of setting up. He's surrounded by girls, young women, for what the C-SPAN Chiron describes as the No Men and Women's Sports Executive Order. Speaking of telling people to play and to not. It's a ridiculous thing.
Wordplay.
It's a ridiculous thing. And I say that because, look, I'm at all times with what David referred to as the transgender, I'm trying to be somebody who you want to hear from, even if you think I'm going to be the guy who is in the tank for one side. I'm not in the tank for one side. I am just here to remind people that when you say this is a deeply unpopular issue, 80-20 a winner for the GOP, 80-20 a winner for the mutated Republican Party, which is true. Just please stop pretending like Democrats had been shoving this down people's throats. Nope. The idea that everybody on the left was so pro-transgender that finally Donald Trump is going to stand up to the big bully. It's just not what was happening.
But we're not saying pro or anti-transgender. What the executive order was about participation in sports.
Yes,
Fear tactics.
And the good news is that there have been rules regulating participation in sports on the basis of hormones, testosterone, which is, look, an arguable debate. Sure, we've done episodes about it, but they've existed. There have been regulations the entire time. There are fewer than 10 college athletes who are trans at all, meaning that we're debating issuing executive orders, fear-mongering about less than 0.02% of the population, while also casting that population as the bully.
The most effective straw man of all time.
It's
right?
an 80-20, Izzy. 80-20, it's a winner. And I'm not disputing that. It is a winner for the Republican Party. What I'm saying is that this is something that I can't abide by because of a misrepresentation of the reality of it, right? I'm not saying that it's not unpopular. I'm saying that we here who have cared about this issue saying, actually, let's consider this population of people. Let's consider that if they were to go through with these regulations, these hormone therapies to decrease their competitive advantage conferred by male puberty, if they were to do all of that, that they deserve a right to play. What I'm saying is that people who have been saying that and believing that, like me, have not been platformed to the point where everybody is saying, let's celebrate the trans athlete. It's been a relatively lonely journey for those people in particular. And so for those fewer than 10 people who are just trying to participate in sports, being cast as Goliath, as the bully, as the big bad wolf by the president surrounded by these women as props, it's insane to me.
So
it's just insane to me.
Is this a Title IX issue? Is this something that can be appealed in the courts?
Roy, there are so many legal pathways shooting out of this, Title IX being one of them. And I guess I even hesitate to go to that point because I want to make the argument even more basic. The boogeyman you have created is not an actual concern. And it's just the most overblown political issue of our time.
It was a platform issue that was used by Trump, and it gets people riled up, and he was able to take care of it. And then he was able to say that I'm doing what I said I would do, which, by the way, is a whole nother subject. All the things he's doing, he said he was going to do.
Yes,
Including this is what he campaigned on, and 70 million people voted for him, and he's doing exactly what they want. And this executive order on transgender participation in sports was one of them, and he's going down the line. This was just a press conference. That was one of 10 that he had.
All he's been doing, while Elon Musk has been doing the actual, work of being president, has been holding press conferences and signing executive orders, which in reality are pieces of paper that just say, here's a take I have.
Yeah, that's my favorite part, is that this is his favorite part of the presidency, is feeling like he's doing something by signing pieces of paper that say...
I think you're underselling an executive order. Now, it is true that you cannot unilaterally implement certain things in some of the executive orders, but all presidents on both sides of the aisle use executive orders as
look,
swords.
there are consequences to them. I am just saying this is the theater of... This is first take. This is Stephen A. actually being very qualified for this part.
Boy.
I can sign an executive order now.
What about me?
Yeah, but a majority of them either have to go through Congress or are wholly unconstitutional.
There's a reason why he's not going through Congress. One of them is because it takes actual work of governance. Another reason is which he does not have a huge majority in Congress. He has a very narrow, the thing that I am frustrated by is just the way in which we have lost any sense of proportion, right? The smallest population of helpless people who are contemplating suicide at a rate of 1 in 3 are the big bad wolf. That's who you should worry about, those people. Meanwhile, the victory that Trump won, again, it's crowd sizes, right? The whole premise of this is he won so overwhelmingly that this is what the people wanted. He's just doing what they wanted. Look at how much he won by. We are misrepresenting basic statistics all of the time. And it's infuriating to be purely just on a counting level. We're really just going to eat all these lies.
Yes, for 4 more years.
And more.
Maybe more after that. But
Wholly unconstitutional.
Now, but when you pack the Supreme Court, you assign the way he has, then you feel a little more emboldened with that branch of government. When you've got the tiebreaker, which he has with J.D. Vance, in case there's a few Republicans who fall astray, which happened recently with one of the appointments, you feel emboldened as the president that you can use the 3 branches of government. What he does with these press conferences and the off-the-cuff sports references and various things, that's just appealing to the ignorant, and that's fine. All the presidents do that. What we should be far more worried about is the ramifications not of the executive order stopping participation of transgender athletes in sports. We should be far more worried about things that he's doing economically, things that are happening within
So let's talk about
Can we not be worried about both, though? Hold on a second. Because
I don't have the bandwidth.
You have to pick and choose?
But that's...
I have to.
That's the problem, though, right? Because if you are running a, for all intents and purposes, sort of fascist version of the American government, otherizing groups of people is what helps you. It's what helps you keep that pulpit. And by creating a boogeyman, the percentage of people in America who think that 25% of our population is full of trans folks because of the fear mongering that's been done by this administration and its cronies are part of why you have people so dug in on that side of the aisle, is because they've created boogeymen out of nowhere. And by the way, if this population is as small as it is, which it is, we should still be supporting them.
So look, I think there's the reason why it's been really hard to talk about the trans debate in the context that David is trying to get us to is because it is a bit of a nuanced thing. We're talking about a tiny population of people, and therefore, if it's just going to be a tiny population of people, less than 10 college athletes, why are we prioritizing them and losing an 80-20 issue, as they say? And what I'm here to remind everybody is that the point of rights in this country is not that it's a popularity contest. It's what is right or wrong. And at the same time, David, I want to acknowledge when it comes to the terror alert scale of how worried we should be about anything, because it's a relatively small population, what's happening, say, to U.S. aid is something that, yes, we should also make room for if we're going to power rank the actual levels of concern, while also noting, briefly, that U.S. aid is also 0.2% of the budget. Right? So another population.
The impact it's having worldwide, the diplomatic impact it's having, the fact that no one's talking about this or no one's, whether we're a sports show or not, if you're not paying attention to what is happening with the U.S. aid and the fact that it's disappearing, then you're not paying attention. So.
It's as you're saying. You got to pick and choose what you want to
But there's a through line here, Roy, right? Here we have in U.S. aid and the trans population of athletes, two groups that are relatively very small.
I don't agree with your premise.
But budgetarily, USAID is 0.2%.
The impact of USAID is so much larger than the impact of banning transgender participation in athletics. It's not even. How can you mention them in the same sentence?
I'm mentioning them in the same sentence because what we're doing here is forcing nuance into a false binary. It's not either or. What we're saying is USAID, 0.2% of the budget, also massively impactful for every foreign relationship we have, for all of these people who got into it for the right reasons.
For everybody with AIDS, everybody with
for
HIV
everybody
around
who's
the world.
affected by disease globally, it is a massive catastrophe. I am also saying that even though there are less than 0.02% fewer,
twice.
I think we'll agree to disagree, percent of college athletes who are trans, also worth considering.
It was obvious back in whatever year that was, 2018, 2017, with the bathroom bill in North Carolina. It was sort of a test there. It's like, hey, my base, we can agree men should go to men's rooms and women should go to women's rooms, right? Ladies' rooms, right? And yeah, but then that one shockingly sort of failed for them. So then the new one was, boys should play boy sports, girls should play girl sports, let's protect our kids. And that one just hit like, you know what? And so it's just been obvious what's been happening. It just happens that they have currently succeeded.
Do you see a problem? I mean, I don't know that we should debate the concept of, I'd rather talk about the executive order and talk about the reason why he's doing that and how that is manifesting itself in issues that are far more impactful to way more people. So I just take umbrage with you saying that it's like USAID 0.02%. Therefore, we have to consider it in the same.
But this is why it's in the same breath right now. It's because what Donald Trump and what this administration is doing all of the time is celebrating that they are defeating the bullies. The bullies in this case are trans athletes, and they're the workers trying to get people AIDS medication, who are actually a tiny percentage of the population he's trying to, David, it's a numeracy
What part
thing.
of budget is Gaza? I mean, are you going to start breaking down the defense budget and what we've done?
I'm walking you to a place of agreement. I'm walking you to a place of agreement, which is, oh God.
Oh, guys, the NBA trade deadline, it never stops. This according to Bobby Marks of ESPN and Tim Bontemps. The Washington Wizards are acquiring Reggie Jackson and a first-round pick from the Philadelphia 76ers in exchange for 4 second-round picks and Jared Butler. Mike Scotto of Hoops Hype also is reporting.
A natural segue from D.C. politics to D.C. basketball. Well done, Amin.
I mean, Reggie Jackson. That gives them a good bet. You know, the Wizards have won 3 games in a row. That's their season high in win streak.
You said they're the worst team.
Worst team ever.
They were my pick of the day. Last night was the Nets over the Wizards, coming off the win over the Rockets.
Yep.
Russell, 2 threes back-to-back. Great game. You then get to play the Wizards, get some momentum.
Mm-hmm.
They're only given 1.5 points under the DraftKings line as of yesterday morning.
They got
smoked. They got smoked. The Wizards smoked them.
Yeah, and guess what that means?
What does it mean?
The Brooklyn Nets are the worst team in the NBA now.
Wait, you said the Wizards are the worst team.
No.
Whoever loses to the Wizards.
Oh, now
it's the opposite of a championship belt.
Whoever loses to the Wizards is the worst team.
Who are
in
the
NBA.
3 teams they've beaten?
Well,
Is it the latest loss that becomes the worst?
the
team?
latest loss. Always.
So now the second to last loss, they're off the hook.
You're off the hook, exactly.
That's so awesome.
Because the Brooklyn Nets have taken the mantle as the worst team in the NBA. Look, for a little bit there, the Denver Nuggets were the worst team in the NBA. That was when they lost when Nikola Jokic had 56 points.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Nikola
tough
Jokic
belt.
has
That's a
56
tough
points,
belt to
and they
hold.
still lost to the Wizards.
I don't agree that you can keep changing your mind every day who the worst team is.
It's very easy. If you lose to the Wizards,
That's
you are
it?
the worst team in the NBA. Absolutely. So Minnesota's like, whew, thank God, we're off the hook.
The Nets were a nightmare last night.
That was awful. But yeah, 4 second-round picks.
4 second rounders. The second rounder is a fun thing to me.
My favorite part of all of these deals, when they said they're sending a pick, they're sending 2 seconds for. I don't know if this is a thing that happens in any other sport, but in the NBA, it's so much fine print. So, for instance, the pick that they're sending Washington is the less favorable of Oklahoma City, Houston, if between 5 and 30, and the Clippers in 2026.
I never read those. I just ignore anything like that when they talk about pick swaps.
Yeah.
That used to be my job, Izzy. I had to write on a whiteboard where all the picks were going.
How much does that pay?
Wait, why?
Not much.
Was your handwriting the best of anyone in your position?
No, because I was the one who knew.
Wait, couldn't you have told someone who had better handwriting?
No.
Does anybody
Our
notice?
front office wasn't that big, David. Like, we didn't have, like, a calligraphy guy.
I want to
28 grand a year.
I want to unite. I want to cross the streams
28.
here, right? So Elon Musk is sending all of these people, these programmers, in to get into the budgetary software. What does the budgetary software of a pro sports team look like?
Well,
So far, it's Amin. So far, Amin
On a
is the
whiteboard?
budgetary software.
Yeah, of course. Everyone's got software for accounts payable and accounts receivable, and you've got spreadsheets and a lot of Excel. There's a lot of Excel. There's a lot of people
Access. Microsoft Access to
doing
database.
formulas so they can keep track of expenses, like of your show, and they can then calculate like how much a show is, and then you have revenue associated with it. It's a whole Megillah. So, and then it generates books. Plus, there's budgets. So every there's about 250 budget departments.
But is there a guy who's just yelling at some underlings, and the underlings are the people actually
12.
keeping track of everything?
I'd say 12 people are yelling and 15 people are being yelled at. It's about a 1-to-1.
What a massive front office you were.
Everybody gets an underling. The underling
so
to
you can't
overseer
be-
ratio at this college is
It's
fantastic.
funny you say that. You can't be an hourly employee and have direct reports. That's exempt versus non-exempt. We can talk about that at any
Does
other
anybody
time.
else? Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. Does anybody else get excited when Amin's like New York accent slightly comes out?
It's the best.
Like when he says "ool," and I'm like, that guy's cooler than he's letting on. Because the New York accent, I think, is the coolest of all the accents.
I don't think I have an accent.
No, just it comes out just a little bit at a time.
Usually when I've been drinking.
There's nothing
You've been
cooler
drinking
than
this
your
morning?
Stephen A. Smith imitation. That to me is the
The
coolest
ultimate New
voice
York
you have.
accent.
The coolest voice is always going to be a 44. That's the coolest voice. You don't think that's a cool voice? Hey,
It is good.
But when you have a New York accent, you just get away with saying things that other people
Sasha Malia thing.
that
Michelle
other
definitely thinks.
people can't get away with. All right? You say
Example.
with a New York accent, you're mad corny for that. You say that with a New York accent, you sound cool as hell. I can't do the New York accent. You sound cool as hell. You're mad. Say that the way I just said it, and you sound like an idiot. You're mad corny for that, Pablo.
It's funny because
Sir, I grew up in New York and I don't have that accent, so I felt that actually hypothetically and realistically.
Right? It's also weird that people just talk different.
I feel like the Southern accent is the coolest accent, right? Like
drawl.
Yeah, because it always. Or maybe I'm just always thinking of that Seinfeld episode where the Astros come up to New York and George is entertaining them, and then after they leave, he starts talking like them, calling them bastards and sons of bitches and stuff like that. And what's my man name? His boss at the Yankees walks by in the hallway and thinks George is blowing the deal by calling them bastards. Will you tell those bastards when I get down to Houston, I'm going to kick their ass or whatever? And instead, it's a language of kind of love.
But it's not cooler. Like, you can't be a hip-hop artist with, like, a Southern accent.
Yeah,
but, like, with a New York accent.
Oh, come on. The Southern accent is all it's at now.
To me, the
All
New
the big
York
artists are Southern.
The New York accent test to me is around water.
What's that? Water?
Is it water?
Water.
Water.
Not
That's
water.
really Long Island.
Yeah, that's
Long Island.
You went a little
Draw.
too far east.
Too far
on
east.
495.
It's true.
I don't think of the Long Island accent as a desirable accent, Right.
People do not want to have that.
They actually,
And it's very easy to tell. It's as easy as the Southern drawl, is the accent off the LIE.
the Southern drawl has it's easy going. You can't rush me, right? Well, I'll tell you what. You get that going. It's like, oh, just get to the point. Like, no, I'll get to the point at my pace.
There was a study recently that I wanted to cite here.
About accents?
Yeah, it was about British accents and how we consider, of course, all of them, any British accent to be of a certain, stature, right?
The standard British accent and the posh British accent,
Well,
yes.
this is the
We're
article.
We're
the
not
study.
talking about Geordies and Manx and
They
stuff
sound
like that.
more important.
I would say that to the untrained American ear, any British accent
No way.
conveys a sophistication.
I would tell you right now, to the untrained American, they've never heard of a Geordie.
What is a Geordie? What is that?
Geordie is people from Newcastle. You could look this up. It's a show called Geordie Shore. It was their version of Jersey Shore. You cannot understand a word they're saying. There's no way that sounds sophisticated. Oh, we'll go. Well, that's what it sounds like.
That's a good one. You need to put that one in the Rolodex.
I'm looking at the differences, the socioeconomic connotations of different British accents, and Amin is right. This is a thing. This is a thing.
Geordies?
Yeah. Look, there was a study that tested how these things sound.
Right.
And I'm gonna get to it in a certain filibuster.
In the next episode,
Take your time. This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by Venmo.
Did you have to do that?
I thought it helped.
Yeah.
I could have done it as Joe. It's brought to you by Venmo. I love that app.
I like doing reads and voices.
Yeah.
Everyone else does their read. They just do their read. I'm like, no, you know what? I did a 1-800-Flowers one the other day. Made it real sensual.
Yeah, and then I followed with another ad and made it very robotic. It was very weird back to back. I'm very jealous.
I'd like you to do every
You
read.
did 1-900-Flowers.
Whoa.
Oh.
But thank you, Venmo.
Stephen Smith's voice. Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, yeah. No.
Every read should be done in that voice
Well,
now.
the Obama voice. I've thought about that before, but never actually saying anything explicit that would identify me as Obama, but just saying, when I, want to give my wife flowers, I go to 1-800-Flowers.
You may get Secret Service knocking on your door.
Really? They're like, Mr. President, are you okay? You're doing reads.
I've never noticed how much the A in Stephen A. Smith helps his name because he just called him Stephen Smith.
No.
It came out
Totally
wrong. I had to
different guy.
change it.
Like, that's
Yep,
just
that guy's polling at 0%.
way less interesting.
No, I beg your pardon. That guy's pulling great with the NFL audience. Stephen Smith, wide receiver.
Steve Smith.
Junior.
Never heard him referred to as Stephen.
Never heard of Stephen A.
There are
Smith as
two
Stephen
different
Smith either.
Steve Smiths, both played receiver in the NFL. Stephen A. Smith, again, polling at 2%.
Also a basketball player named Steve Smith.
Steve Smith,
Also
Smitty from the
Steve
city.
I cried when he got traded from the Heat.
Also, there's another Stephen A. Smith that's from American Dad, Anita Smith. Yeah, that's a great show. I love it. I feel like I'm Greg Cody right now.
David said something to me in the break that I just want everybody else to know and be aware of.
He's doing his Dan imitation.
David, this is actually a real thing.
Was it in the eating
Wait,
area?
you say Dan doesn't do that's not real when Dan does it?
This is a genuine revelation to me. David said, "You're peeing again at 11 a.m."
I just found it annoying that it's twice, 2 days in a row when we're trying to get going, and then he's the guy who the kids are in the car. You're ready to roll, and all of a sudden one of them says, "Oh, I got to go to the bathroom."
He's keeping track of
No,
when you guys pee.
It's too late.
He knows
This
when all of
wasn't
us pee.
why this phrase was invented, but that is the ultimate pecker checker.
I wasn't looking at his pecker.
You're checking it.
But you
I
were.
was-
But you were checking.
Have you
it.
ever
Checking.
peeked before in the bathroom?
I've never used the bathroom in this studio.
No, I just meant in general. Are you a
sit.
peeker?
I sit to pee always.
Really?
I do not stand at urinals.
This tracks.
Somehow not shocking.
I do not. There's too much splash potential. But in
Wait,
any
hold
case,
on. But that's an interesting decision you're making there, right? Because you're inviting a whole other world of germs.
Yeah. Right up the.
I'm
Wait,
not
what kind of
familiar
toilet seat do you have?
Exactly.
You are. Wait. You sit though.
It's a.
You
it's
touch
a
the seat.
Oh no.
You hover?
Am I the only one who squats with your thighs?
To pee?
Yes.
No. Yeah.
Hold on. Is
Well,
this really
well, hold
happening
on.
right now?
Well, is Jess here today?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you? I'm not doing this, but you have
Okay, here's the
contact
thing.
with the
At
public
home,
toilet seat?
I'm fine with sitting to pee. Like, that's just a comfortable thing. I don't need to make all the noise. Don't need to do all the splash. On the road, if you will, not at home, I'm standing every time. David, like, just you deal with whatever splash situation you can, but you avoid the touching and the awkward position that you're hovering over the toilet seat.
My stream has such incredible aim. I get zero splash.
Work on that, David.
Just direct it.
I am surprised to hear all of your takes.
I
on
use
this.
I create a layer between me and the seat.
You're talking about at a public bathroom.
Yeah, I'm
I
putting
do it
down
at people's homes, though. I do that.
You put toilet tissue on the seat?
Yes.
Or they have those seat covers. You do that?
No, I don't.
You don't
touch
touch
those.
Would love a seat cover. No, we'll use a seat cover.
Yeah, that's what
Gladly.
I do. If I have to go, like, rare, you know me, I'm pretty regular, so I don't have to deal with that.
There's
way too much
sometimes
about
when
your
you're at a
regularity,
friend's
I mean.
house that you have to use tissues on the toilet seat because you don't want to throw them into the toilet because you may clog it, and then
Yeah.
when you're done, you just clump the tissues and put them in the waste can.
been
So
a problem
I'm
in the New York
always
office.
doing math. I've never been in that bathroom either.
I never sit. I never sit. Like the only time I sit is to do the other thing, and
But even at a friend's house,
I don't. Not at a friend's house. No.
That's just rude.
Lift that seat up. Nope. My aim is true. Like a laser. It's like
Rude.
The
I've
like
never
the Death
thought.
Star.
I've never thought when someone goes pee at my house, like they better not be standing.
I actually
I-
ask guests, make sure you sit.
No, you
No
don't, David.
way.
David,
Come
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Let
if
me
I come
tell you
over,
right now.
No.
You will not stand in
You're
my
gonna
house.
hear it. I will.
And
make
how do I
sure.
know? Because you hear the double click up.
Clonk.
Is no one else knowing the noise?
What
when the
other
second-
demands do you have of your guests? This is very strange.
I keep. There's a. I mean, it's
Wait,
not
what-
that.
And do you like
unreasonable.
list them upon arrival, or do you have like a list on the wall?
It depends on use. So when people are coming over just to pick me up, I know they're not using the restroom. I don't have to go into the restroom rules. If someone's coming over for a meal,
Do you lay these rules out, like
Plural.
you explain them, or
want-
do you hand them?
people want communication.
And do
Yeah,
people
no,
leave
I'm
immediately,
asking.
like Homer Simpson's dad, out of the bar after he walked in?
Let's put it this way, David.
I'm blown
You're
away.
hosting like there's a big fight, right? There's a boxing match. You're hosting people over,
Mm-hmm.
right? All right, David, I'll come. I'm not doing anything. I want to watch the fight at your house. I show up. Okay. Well, thanks for inviting me, David. What's going on? What do you
when
have?
you
to,
say,
what
"Hey,
snacks?"
I have to use the bathroom," I'll say, "Fine, just make sure you sit."
So you don't say it until.
That's what I was just trying to say.
So
You said that to me when I came in your house. I would pee in the sink.
not when you come in the house.
If you said that to
when
me,
you
I would
ask-
assume you're telling me to poop.
I'm just saying, David, if you said to me when I'm going to your bathroom, please sit, I would just be so offended by that I
Why?
would pee in the sink. I would be like, I need to get even with him, and this is how I'm
I
going
am
to do
very much missing this, and I guess it's one of the
When-
issues
Hey,
I
David,
have.
where's the bathroom? I just need to wash my hands.
No problem.
Where's
it's
the
right
bathroom?
It's right over there, but I would send. There's several different
But then-
choices
but then
depending on what you're doing.
but then if you-
there's
if
a
you-
bathroom just for hand washing.
Real, and there's no toilet in there.
That's called a half bath.
The half bath is just a toilet and a sink.
Is there a bathroom?
Yeah, I've
you-
got a sink
That's
that
a
I
third
send people
bath.
to.
Wait, do you
like a bar
send?
bath.
Is there a bathroom you send people that you think are dirtier than others?
That's a yes. That's a yes. That's a
This-
yes.
This
prejudice.
makes me very uncomfortable, this conversation, and I will tell you that is a very normal thing. That when you have, for example, if there are workers,
profiling?
Hold on. This is gonna get.
You're a bathroom profiler.
Pablo,
It's not
he has
by-
a shovel. Let him dig.
It's not by race. It's not by. It's by if your hands are dirty
By vibe.
because you're doing weeds. Mm-hmm. For an example,
Sure.
I'm not letting you
doing weeds.
use the main. I don't mean.
What do you
smoking
mean
them.
doing weeds?
We're
Pulling
definitely
weeds.
not talking about.
You're
class
having
here,
people
for
over
sure.
immediately after pulling weeds from the garden.
If someone needs the restroom and is cleaning something that makes them dirty, I don't want them in the nice bathroom.
The misinterpretation you have here is these are not his friends; these are his workers.
I get it now.
man,
This is
for the
allow
help.
people in the house.
He's got a
Got
bathroom
it.
for the
Gardener.
help. Yeah.
They're coming in to pee. If
Plumber.
Yeah,
they're
Super
doing
Bowl
work
Sunday.
like that, it's not
Everybody
happening.
pulls
No, it's,
weeds.
It's fight night, right? All right. Hey, David, the gardener's
No,
here.
and also, I'll keep going. Kids, there's certain bathrooms for the kids to use. I don't want kids because
How much money do you have? You said you weren't a billionaire, but how many bathrooms do you have?
It's an upset that you allow kids in your house.
Hey, David.
It's only when
Amin
forced
Jr.
to.
needs to go to the bathroom too, by the way, just to wash his hands, though.
different directions.
What if I what if we're having a fight night and I've had a few too many beers and I got to throw up, dude?
Oh, yeah.
I'm feeling sick, David.
I've had that happen. There's a place outside.
Where'd you send Greg Cody?
Yes,
you have an outhouse?
You cannot. If I see that, like, we won't overserve. That's the thing.
What's
too.
the spot that you pick outside?
It's
Because
great that
clearly
you know
you
this.
picked
You've been
a
there.
spot.
So there is behind a hedge. You've been where we're talking about.
I've seen.
There's a hedge.
You've
go
been to fight
behind it.
night.
I've seen a couple of the bathrooms.
Wait, did he give you the instruction? Did he give you the pamphlet when you walked in?
Now I'm reliving every.
Amin. He limits
instruction I was
drink
given.
consumption for
How
his
do,
friends.
how do you do
Just
that?
drink responsibly.
How do you do that?
What? Wait, hold on.
How do you
First
do
of all,
it?
I'm liable.
No, how do you do it?
I say you can't have any more drinks.
You're watching every time someone gets up to go to the kitchen?
It's not hard to pay attention to 40 people.
Or are
He's
you the one?
paying attention to when all of us pee?
I can pay attention to a lot of
Okay, so here's
Wait, don't criticize me for not over-serving
Not criticizing. I'm not criticizing. I'm merely asking, how do you actually police all these rules? Pablo's going to the bathroom. Chris is throwing up. I got to make another drink. How are you making sure the gardener's here? Amin Jr. has to wash his hands. How are you keeping track of all these different things all at once?
It's not hard. I swear to
Wow.
you. You should try it sometime.
No, I hate hosting.
So I host a lot.
I hate hosting. I'm surprised you as a germaphobe are.
People love coming over and love. And I want people to feel welcome as long as they follow the rules.
Rich people love hosting.
I hate hosting.
This is
Maybe I'm
not about.
rich.
I did the same when I had a 2-bedroom apartment with 1.5 baths.
Oh my
So-
God! How'd the rules work back then?
It was dicey.
Pee out the window.
No, there were. So I love where your head's at. New York City, in
That's what you
doorman
say when they were
buildings,
peeing out the window.
there are bathrooms in the lobby.
Oh my God! You
Oh,
sent
wow.
people to the lobby.
What floor?
Sure.
What floor did you live
On the elevator on
Hold
down,
on.
huh?
What floor did you live on?
31.
God
Oh.
damn! David,
Sure.
I gotta go.
Plan better in advance. Pablo, somehow you can set Greenwich called and said it must be 11:02 Eastern. Pablo's going pee.
I didn't know that about myself.
It just so happens. It's been 2 days in a row. I just wanted you to know that whatever you were drinking, because you started today with 2 big cups.
Yeah, I got some
and
coffee
it's
and a
well, but it's
coconut
causing
water.
you to have to go to the bathroom and slow the show.
At a normal pace. Like, it's okay to go to the bathroom.
There's nothing wrong, by the way,
Thanks,
with
Chris.
as long as it's because you're drinking a lot and not because of other health issues. There's nothing wrong with going. To
It's a
urinate
go
lot.
problem, not a flow problem.
Yeah, Flomax.
What is? I'm still stuck on the first.
Oldest
thing.
show ever.
Before we get into
We followed Max with
urology
Flomax.
commercials, I'm still stuck on what David is doing in terms of his hovering. So you are just
You must not know any women. who
you're doing that.
hover.
You're doing that.
Yes,
You're
it's
doing
squat.
that.
It's
Okay.
I know
I-
women that hover at
my-
like porta potties. Like my wife is not hovering at every toilet she sits.
what I wasn't sure about was whether David was on top of the seat and squatting, like feet on seat.
You were thinking whether he was like
Yeah,
this.
gargoyle style. I had David
No.
Samson gargoyle.
I'm sorry, then I misrepresented. Is that what you thought?
No, I had you just like hovering, like your ass is like 6 inches above the toilet.
That's a hover.
Yeah, I have your quads are burning by the time you take
That's
a long pee.
That's exactly correct. I'm told by many people that I do a lot of things wrong, and I was never modeled it. I had a weird, so I do a lot of things differently than most people, and I don't know why that is.
But David, you realize it, right? You know that
It's a habit now.
No, but it should not come as a shock to you, I guess is what I'm saying. Well, you look like at the beginning of this conversation, like, you guys don't sit down.
Well,
when you pee?
I still assume that no one would sit on a public toilet. Even
No.
With a,
I'm talking about the
in your
act of
house?
urination for men to be that sitting down is the norm.
I know that most of you stand, but
Mm-hmm.
I know that most people are not you, where they can control the splash.
You have an, I mean, as an
It's a gift.
angle.
I got the
I
best
assume
angle.
you're lying.
What's
You're
your
I'm
dunking
not.
with a bank shot.
I'm really good. I'm really dude.
Yeah, are
you
you
know
Tim
what?
Duncan? What's happening
Now
here?
I'll give you one better, Jeremy. That's true. So earlier, Izzy said sometimes I don't want to make sound. This typically doesn't happen when I'm at home, but sometimes when I'm at someone's house, I do want to do the silent pee, so I can aim it at the exact angle where it won't make much of a sound, but also it reduces splash because it
Reduces
so
does not
impressive.
eliminates.
it does not eliminate. Yes, it's true. That's true. There is a little bit of trickle, but a lot of it gets caught up under the rim, which is the whole point of the aim.
It depends also the water level. There's certain bathrooms where the water level is
so
lower,
high that
and there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do.
Look,
You just
there's
got to
gonna be
lean into
sound.
it. You got to
It's
lean
what
into
great
it.
athletes refer to as being in a flow state.
Dick Trickle.
Thongs.
The thing that I do that I realized very early on that I'm the only person who does this. I abhor walking into a shower barefoot. I always have.
This was a
slides
problem at the
or
spa
flip-flops
for
on.
me last night.
Even at my own house.
Wait, in
Flip-flops
the
you wear.
shower.
In your own home?
In my own.
Oh.
Literally, it could be.
Now we're in crazy town.
What's that? What I'm talking about?
Yeah. What do you don't trust your own shower?
I could have the shower have been built and installed. I'm the first person to use it and was cleaned and everything. The feeling of my barefoot against tub or tile disgusts me.
Oh, I'm with you here. I mean,
It disgusts me.
Do you pee in the shower?
No, I don't. Even though Costanza says it's all pipes.
I'm reacting to Izzy's agreement with Amin. I
yeah, no,
also
there's a
do
lot
pee in
of
the shower.
things about showers. Like, don't even get me close to a shower drain. I don't care if it's mine. I don't care how clean it supposedly is. It's the grossest place.
So not
in
a
the
fan
world.
of Saltburn then.
That is the most disgusting. I didn't even watch that scene. I had to like cover my eyes and find out when it was over. But the tiled shower floors, right? Where sometimes they first get wet and you step on and maybe they feel slimy and you're like, ooh, they did not do a great job of cleaning this floor. Or I don't want any grout under my feet while I'm showering because I just feel like every grout is just going to be disgusting, especially when you've got people washing
You
themselves
talk about
in that area.
grout the way that David Samson talks about gardeners.
He's disgusted by gardeners.
I'm not, and I resent that implication.
As long as they're outside.
There's also they use the right bathroom.
Do you travel with thongs?
In the
And
lobby.
then what do you do when you have to leave?
Now,
What do you
I
do
do
when you
not
have to
wear
leave
shoes in
post-shower?
the shower. I do not go as far as wearing shoes in the shower, nor do I travel with my thong slippers. But I do have a pair.
So I have at home. I have flip flops that are designated just for when I'm coming in and out of the shower. And on the road here, I have slides that I pack in my
Is there a
Tupperware
surface
boxes?
you'd prefer your shower floor to be?
I mean, I like a standing shower. By the way, I don't like
What's
tubs.
that good for?
I don't like tub showers. I like a walk-in
Carpeted
shower.
I'm with you on that. I would rank a walk-in shower ahead of the tub.
Yeah.
So
So
the recipe for getting injured at this point.
the tub,
The oldest show
Absolutely.
in the world.
But yeah, so I guess in that way, I would prefer the tile over the smoothness of a tub, which is just, that's so gross.
Only when you say smooth like that. That's the only time it's gross.
Dolphin smooth.
Oh, that's worse.
I didn't know you guys all didn't trust your own shower floors.
I don't wear shoes in the shower.
I've never heard anything like this before.
This is-
I've heard it regarding hotels or staying elsewhere. I am shocked by the lack of trust in your own shower
The times
floor.
that I put a scrub brush to the shower on the, which I have one of those sleek, like white smooth bathtubs in my master. And I'm sorry, are we calling it that anymore?
No.
My main bedroom bathroom. And when I scrape it, I'm just like, wow, I've just been standing on that for like the last week and a half. It's just gross.
It's not a cleanliness thing. I just don't like the sensation. So
I mean, do you clean your own tub?
I do. Well, I don't have a tub. I have a walk-in shower.
Oh, a shower, I should say.
Will you
I
walk
do.
around barefoot in your home, or are you someone who's constantly wearing socks?
I have house slippers.
You
that
have
I
slippers.
walk around in the house.
I give
My man.
socks to guests because I don't
Oh,
want
you have
them
a shoe
to be
policy?
bare feet.
Do you have
no
shoe pol-
shoes? No shoes in the house.
So shoe policy.
And when people come in without socks, I buy
Are they like a
socks
new
for-
fresh pair, and then they
Yes.
get to rip them open?
They
and
get
take
to
them
keep
home?
them. No, but you can buy
Is it
them
like
on
those
Amazon.
It's
footies
like
that
the
you
Foot
get
Locker
oh my
at the Foot Locker
goodness.
when you
Yeah.
want to try
You
shoes
can
on.
buy
Right?
them in bulk, and
I
they're
hate those
extremely
socks.
cheap. I just don't want people's toes on
So
my
it's
floor.
just like a handout of, hey, here you go, and then they wear that and
part of the
protect themselves from
So
your
you're
floor.
forcing women who wear heels come into your house, take those heels off, and then you give them, I guess, what, trampoline socks.
Footies.
No, yeah.
Bowling socks.
They've got grip.
You know what they're
They've
really
got
good
grip.
for? You ever want to rob a bank? Just over your face right
No,
there.
not those.
Oh, not those?
I know what you're
I
talking
hate
about.
those.
No, I know the
socks.
ones David's talking about because in
Church
the same
socks.
scenario, you go to a bar bat mitzvah and everybody's taking off their heels to dance and they're getting the little socks with the grip on them so that they're not slipping on the dance
Wait,
floor.
these socks have grips?
Yes. It's not. You can't
I
give
knew
people
exactly
slip
where he was
socks.
going.
That would be obviously liability. You can't have people on your floor with slip socks. They'll
Can you
crack their
imagine
head
the
open.
gathering now at his house? It's just a bunch of people with those socks on, holding their hands like this, so they don't want to get anything dirty, trying to sort of ration their drinks, trying not to drink too much, and trying not to seem too sloppy, lest he kick them out of the house.
You make it sound not fun, Izzy.
You make it sound not
Oh,
fun.
no, people have a ton of fun.
You give them gloves too, don't
It's
you?
a laugh
They
party.
get to look
laughing
it's
at
a
you, I
laugh.
believe.
Hold on. Hold on. Did you just say it's a laugh party?
It's people are having a great time.
It's a laugh party is what you get when you're using Google Translate 4 times.
It is laugh party.
And you get it back and it's like, oh,
Laugh riot.
having a real laugh party.
I think Roy's been amazing today.
Oh man.
Roy's
windows.
Roy's efficiency has been off the charts.
That's what I do.
He dropped a Title IX, then he dropped a yep when it came to Master, which was
I said no. No. Definitely
Jesus,
no.
David.
That statement cut it by itself.
Oh my god.
His efficiency is sort of like what Andrew Wiggins is going to look like in a Heat uniform.
That was not efficient.
Jeremy so badly wants to talk about this young core for the Heat.
can't do it
I know.
anymore.
The
Where's his
backstory.
what?
We haven't even talked about it.
The backstory of what's been happening on the show today is that we've been trying to prevent more Heat talk from happening, and it's peeking through.
Now we're
That's
talking
fine.
about bathroom etiquette.
We're just in the city. Where
All right,
the biggest
Jeremy, you
trade
get
of
30
yesterday
seconds.
happened.
Tell us about the young core.
That we haven't heard before.
I mean, this is a really
got
wonderful
him there.
setup for me. No, I mean, look, when you're looking at the Miami Heat, if you want to hear something you haven't heard before, it's that they have 3 All-Stars under the age of 30, technically. If you include Andrew Wiggins, Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo, who have all been to All-Star appearances in the last few years. But what's more important is you look at the actual young core that they have when you add Andrew Wiggins to it at 29. You have a 20-year-old in Kel'el Ware, a 21-year-old in Nikola Jovic, a 23-year-old in Jaime Jaquez Jr., Tyler Hero at 25, Bam Adebayo at 27. There's a future there for the first time.
Thank you.
Great.
The Mets signed Pete Alonso, and it was a
we're not-
I'm really glad we're
huge
talking about
loss
this instead.
for
Not doing
Scott
that
Boras.
either. Why is Izzy wearing a hockey
We are
sweater?
across the street.
Well, it's funny because David tried to convince me that I was making a political statement by buying this fairly
Izzy,
expensive jersey.
I asked.
He asked, well, but he thought that that's why I did it, and that's kind of a leading question. Not a leading question, but it
Look,
suggests that
did he
that's what I
profile
would
you
do,
as
and I would
somebody
never do
who might want to make a political statement and also use a bathroom that he's not comfortable with you using?
that. Yeah, I'm at the
Who's to
point where I
say?
don't even watch the news, so I don't even know what's going on with tariffs or Canada or anything. There is actually a bit of a funny story to this. I bought this by accident. We famously have spoken about the hockey group chat that that Mike Ryan
Separate
started
from
on
the
show.
Jaquez group chat.
Different. Also,
Look at Jeremy.
I'm in a
just lit
Jaquez
up.
group chat. It's called Jaime Jaquez is the next Jimmy Butler, and it includes me, Dan, Mike Ryan, and Mike Schur. And we talk about basketball all the time together.
Do you
Me
have
and Mike
Mike's
Schur.
cell phone?
Yeah, I have his cell phone number. He told me
Don't
not to give it
it,
to you.
yeah.
He specifically
so
told me.
glad I'm not in
He actually
these
told me
things.
yesterday, quote, casually mentioned that we text all the time, but don't give Samson my number. I'll show you that text if you want.
So we're on the text thread, right? And I think it was Ethan. Well, it was Ethan who mentioned that his birthday. No, let me rephrase. Somebody had pointed out that these jerseys were now on sale. It was the Four Nations jerseys, and it was at for sale at the Iceplex where the Panthers practice, which is over by where I live. And it just so happened that I saw those texts as I was a block away from said Iceplex, and then one of the very next texts was Ethan, who I don't know if you know Pablo.
Oh,
but Ethan is someone who works here.
We measured him yesterday, didn't
Oh,
we?
whoa. Where'd you
Yes.
start from?
Oh,
So
Well,
Ethan sent a text
Ron
that
McGill
said-
measured him, technically.
said my birthday's Tuesday, as if to suggest, hey, somebody should buy me that. And I'm not somebody who just goes around buying people gifts, even though I do on occasion. But sometimes it just feels like, oh, it's the perfect set of circumstances. I'm going to buy him this as a birthday gift. I will seem like the greatest person in the world, right? That's really my intention for all this. And so I get here on Monday or Tuesday, I can't remember, and I asked somebody else who works here, Mally, if he thinks that Ethan already bought this jersey. And turns out he did already buy this jersey. I asked Ethan to confirm. So rather than return it and get, a little bit of money back, I ended up keeping it for myself. So now Ethan and I can match whenever we hang out, which is never.
2010 Winter Olympics. Canada's playing in the gold medal game for hockey. And I have never in my life seen a more unanimous crowd where every single person was wearing the authentic Canada jersey. Stitches and everything. It was just a
It's
sea
pretty
of red.
dope, though. Like, check out this jersey.
It better be for how expensive it is. I bought one. I bought a USA one, and good God, is it expensive.
But it just staggered me that there wasn't a single person who scalped their ticket or a single person who said, oh, I don't have the jersey. I got this other T-shirt. Like, everyone was wearing it. It blew my mind.
God, would it be amazing if they were a state? I mean, then that would be a U.S. victory.
I'm stuck on Iceplex.
Every hockey team practices at something where it's a weird ice pun. Because the Coyotes, when they used to be the Coyotes, were at the ice den. And
That's what the Panthers called their last practice facility.
And then also thing about the ice den was same thing with Izzy. It's like it's your practice facility. Also, it's kind of open to the public, where like other kids
Like practices from 9 to 11, and then there's free skating.
Yeah,
from 12 to 2.
And they have a gift shop, and I'm just like, I don't think this exists in any other sport where you can just come in and get some open run in.
Don't the Knicks practice like at SUNY Purchase?
No,
is that old
There was a
news?
gentleman at the Iceplex when I went in there who got too close to the windows as the Chicago Blackhawks were practicing, and he got yelled at. And I was like, wow, that's an experience.
Black Hawks.
Blackhawks.
Right.
Separate from the Vultures. I found, by the way, I was in. So
Come on, man.
We were measuring Ethan and David because we were trying to get a scientific verdict from Ron McGill on which of these two people would the turkey vultures circling the Elser perpetually be most likely to take away. And I found, I was on the balcony of my room last night, and I was admiring the vultures, and then I looked up and saw 100 of them perched on the floor above me.
100?
I should. I have a
First of all, there's hyperbole everywhere in his story.
I'm so glad you challenged this.
Because it's not perpetual around the Elster, because if you listen to Ron McGill yesterday, they migrate here during the winter.
Okay, perpetually during the migration season, they are circling the Elser.
God, do you hate not being the smartest guy in the room?
Oh, the NBA trade deadline, guys. It never stops. And someone get Ryan Cortes on life support because his beloved PJ Tucker is being rerouted.
Get Cortez's throat back on the Zoom and open that up real wide.
Unclog it.
PJ Tucker is going to his original NBA team, the Toronto Raptors, along with second-round pick and cash in exchange for the man they call Off Night, Davion Mitchell.
Oh,
does that bring them below? Is that
Baylor's
the same as
own.
trading Kyle Anderson?
I've got to look up Davion Mitchell's salary, but it might be yes.
Because we said that they had till 3 p.m. Eastern, and if they don't get below the tax, then the whole Butler trade's a nightmare. And it sounds
PJ
like
Tucker makes $11.5 million this year. Davion Mitchell will make $6.4 million this year. So,
ladies and gentlemen,
they've done it.
Andy Ellisberg has done it again.
Well, they had no choice.
He is the absolute master. I don't know if there's well, you guys don't have a salary cap, so no. But like in our sport, when we talk about, hey, they've got 12 hours to get under this threshold right here. There is nobody in our league who's as good and creative as Andy Ellsberg, including the year where he got what's the Slovenian guard, not Goran Dragic, the other one,
Bino Udra.
Beno Udra. He got
Not his
Beno
brother.
Udra just to just lower the guarantee on his deal in order to get under.
I'm sorry, but make sure we speak to our Heat people. I believe what happened here is the Raptors did not want Anderson, and the Raptors knew that they had the Heat over a barrel because they had till 3 p.m. to get below, and then they upgraded to P.J. Tucker. Is there a chance that's what happened?
So-
And the Heat didn't want to trade P.J. Tucker, but they had to get under the line more than they wanted to keep Tucker.
Close, I would say it's the second round pick in the cash.
That's right.
That they squeezed out of him. They got another little draft asset and some money out of it, as opposed to just a player for player or maybe a little bit of money.
In a shocking development,
Yes.
Jeremy likes this move for the Heat.
Oh, I do
mean,
too.
it's
Why?
not. Oh, it's not a bad thing with this team, given what their backcourt
I
looks
feel
like.
like I'm
in
taking
terms of
crazy
depth. It's just
pills.
depth. Wait, what?
You loved P.J. Tucker.
I didn't say
Where's
anything about
Cortez?
PJ Tucker.
Where is Ryan Cortez?
By the way, Chris Cody now knows what Davion Mitchell looks like, so he's 3 for 3.
Man,
He's like a nice player.
Davion Mitchell also might be the PJ Tucker of the perimeter. That guy is such a good defender.
That's it.
You're talking about Andrew Wiggins, Bam, Khalil Ware, Davion
Oh, no.
Mitchell. Like, this team could shut some people
They
down.
got you too.
Got me.
I would say that the reason this would be positive in terms of an exchange for Tucker is Tucker likely, given the Heat's front court scenario, was not going to play for them at all. He would have been a cool guy to have on the bench and motivate some of these younger players. I did say cool Kai. And
Thanks for noticing.
Yeah, I noticed it because I noticed both of your heads perk up as soon as I did it and thought maybe I could power through that one.
Not in this
But
group.
the thing about acquiring a player in Davion Mitchell, does he solve all your problems at the guard position? Obviously not. But now a 26-year-old at a lower number who's also a free agent and can contribute at a position that you need production from is a benefit compared to where you were 5 minutes ago.
Ryan Cortes has responded on Twitter about this move. What? All caps, 6 question marks. Okay, now I've had enough. By Riley.
I can't imagine PJ Tucker and his level of despondency.
He's got to hate the Heat now. He went from loving the Heat, I just want nothing but to come back there because they tried to get him, and then he went somewhere else and she's like, yeah, I definitely want to come back. Oh, sweet, I'm back. Holy
Do you think he was on a plane already?
PJ?
If we can find out the
private jet?
travel of PJ Tucker,
Great one. Did you mean to do that?
was he on his way here?
No.
So he was waiting till 3 p.m.?
I'm pretty sure when they do the deal, they tell him, hey, man, don't book that flight yet. Don't.
You think that the Heat were already knowing that Anderson was not going to be able to be moved?
You tell his agent there
More
in
of
that
a-
spot, like, hey,
like-
just so you know, this
It could
Everybody,
be you.
you got to get under the tax. Like, we're gonna probably move you.
David, right now, other than guys like Luka Doncic, for all these salary flotsam,
Jetsam, even.
sure. Meet
A
George,
Greg Cody moment right there.
meet George Jetsam. That's a good Cody moment. But
His
for all
boy
these
Elroy?
guys, nobody gets on a plane. Everyone just hold on, relax until we figure out where all the pieces will land.
You think Butler didn't get on a plane?
Butler-
Oh, he's the Jetsam?
Yeah, no, he's
The non-Jetsam?
the non-Jetsam. Yes,
I'm trying to be cool here. Never heard that expression before.
Flotsam.
You ever heard Flotsam and Jetsam?
I've never heard Flotsam and Jetsam. Am I the
Really?
only one in the room?
No, I
Never
also
seen
have.
Little
No,
Mermaid?
I have no idea what you're talking
Okay,
about.
thank you.
Flotsam is like debris, and then it's like this is the.
They were
debris of-
also the pair of moray eels in The Little Mermaid.
Eels, that's what they were.
Yeah.
Never saw it?
You never saw the Little Mermaid?
No, I wouldn't watch
Really?
movies like that with my kids.
I wouldn't watch movies like that.
No.
The seaweed is
What
always
part-
greener in somebody else's lake.
But now
You dream about going up there, but that is a big
Big
mistake.
mistake.
Just look at the world around you, right here on the ocean floor.
But now it's Barack.
I don't know. That might no.
You put him on tilt.
No,
That's it.
no.
You
N-
finally
not,
did it.
Not because I can't, but because I won't.
Mitch McConnell doesn't want you under the sea.
Well, Mitch McConnell wants me to stay under the sea. That's what it is.
Ah.
The folks across the aisle, they don't want us to get up to the land.
Let Cortez in.
Is he
He's in the
here?
waiting
You guys
room.
see Mitch McConnell
oh
fell?
my God.
3 times.
Both sides of the aisle fall.
Cortez.
he's
Is
back.
Cortez
Different
here?
background or no?
Is
This is what I'm
Cortez
excited
here?
to see.
He's
Speaking
back in
of-
Japan.
Oh, no, same. He hasn't
Same
moved.
glasses.
Ryan Cortez.
The hell
were
do you want now?
where were you when you found out that PJ Tucker was
Japan,
traded?
clearly.
Oh my god, I can't believe this. This is like literally gut. This hurts me more than not getting Durant. The idea that they're gonna lose PJ Tucker. You gotta be
Can
kidding
you
me.
reveal where you are so we can emotionally have a visual on your actual true self?
If there's a PJ Tucker poster behind you,
Oh man.
It's so sad because there's the photo
so
that
sad.
I love when Andy Ellisberg.
That's Andy.
Wait,
Back.
Cortez has a framed photo of the back of Andy Ellisberg.
That's right.
That's an iconic.
Oh, yeah.
It's an
That's an iconic
such a
photo,
great
yeah.
moment. It's
Yeah,
it's
that's a
such a
moment.
great
But
moment.
explain the moment, though. I don't expect everybody to know that
Well-
Andy Ellisberg's back is an iconic thing for you guys.
Sure. No, the moment is Nikola Jokic commits a crime on the court and he hits Markieff Morris in the back, and the whole team is being held back by Andy Ellisberg, of all people, menacingly looking like we're going to kick Jokic's ass. And I got the photo framed, and then they played Jokic and they never did anything. So it's sort of a nothing moment now.
Cortez, I hesitate to point out the obvious metaphor here, which is that Andy Ellisberg has turned his back to you.
Yeah. He's the one that did it, right? Does it,
Well, I don't know because there's 5 people that make decisions, but I'm at the point now where I've had enough of Riley. I'm good. I'm good on Pat Riley. Thank you for everything you've done. Please leave. I've had enough.
Cortez, I'm going to dig deeper.
No,
with you on
enough.
this. I'm going to dig deeper with you on this. So Pat Riley made the decision, hey, we've got to get under. But the man who made the numbers sing is Andy Ellisberg. And them Ooh, them numbers be singing. Let's go ahead and edit
Whoa.
that one. Them numbers be
Better
singing.
you than me, man.
Them numbers be singing.
It
Magic
may be the
Credit
worst
content?
background I've ever seen of anyone who's been on the air.
I mean, he has a parakeet.
Whoa,
jersey.
watch your mouth. You sit in a literal glove. Like, who are you talking about?
It's
with
not a little
backgrounds?
glove
Like,
at all.
You literally
You
sit
have
in
a
a glove.
69 jersey that you're covering with your
It's
head.
a Parakeet 69 jersey. Show some respect.
Well, that's
And-
covering a Haslam jersey.
Right.
And
Don't you
you've
think
done
we'd rather see the Haslam jersey than
No,
the
I
Parakeet
know.
69?
It's retired.
I have a Jimmy Butler jersey that I tried to put here, and I was going to put tape over it, but I don't have any of the tape, so instead I just have been using it to blow my nose. But listen, I've had enough of Pat Riley. Please.
I can't.
The Miami Heat are now $1.96 million below the first apron. Congratulations.
That's a winner.
Yep, they did it.
They
did
also
it.
upgraded players in that
Yeah.
move too.
This is the part that Parakeet doesn't
Davion
wanna-
Mitchell's
He's a better player than
really,
PJ Tucker.
like a much better player
Yes.
than PJ Tucker at a position they need him to play.
Allegedly. I like Davion Mitchell. He has been referred to in the past as one of those guys that is sort of a Heat culture player who's not on the Heat yet. I understand the interest. Getting rid of PJ Tucker is offensive to me. Like that's like the thing that you can't do. That's ridiculous.
I just like how that euphemism, he's like a Heat culture player who's not in the Heat yet, means can't shoot, seems to try hard,
Oh,
would
for the love
enjoy
of-
being yelled at.
Good at defense.
You're a Ben Simmons fan, and you're going to sit there and talk trash. You would be grateful to have a Heat culture player. You had a Heat culture player in your midst, and you didn't know what to do
Jimmy
with him
Butler,
because your
by the way,
organization is
Jimmy
a
Butler
bumbling bunch of fools.
Has
Pretty
never
damning
been
argument
better.
there,
Jimmy
Pablo.
Butler has never been better than he was during that Sixers run. That should have been a finals run.
What?
He was better the 2 and 3 years after that when
Yeah,
he was
what are you
actually
talking
in the
about?
finals.
disagree.
Did you
Are
see
you
the
in
Bucks
high
series?
on here?
Disagree.
Idiot.
56 points against. What are you
Disagree.
talking about? Crazy.
I'm not ending the day with Ryan Cortez on the screen in front of
We're
a
at the end
Parakeet
of the day
69
already?
jersey. I'm just not doing it.
69.
I'm not allowing.
I just.
What
that
is your
to happen.
objection to Parakeet 69 jersey? It's if I have multiple Parakeet. Do you want one?
Listen,
nice
got a
jersey.
Marlins one?
it's nice. No doubt.
Jinx.
Listen, the other day on Mystery
This
Crate,
friendship between Roy and Samson is really throwing me off.
the other day on Mystery Crate, we did a top 10 list of the best numbers, and I believe 69 did crack the top 10. It was
Top
a very
10er.
confusing list to listen to, but it was a very good.
Don't worry though,
conversation.
we'll get Chris's top 100 numbers by week, every week for the next 99 weeks on Mystery Crate. So
That's great.
everyone has that to look forward to.
I think that's what the Super Bowl is actually going to come down to.
Oh yeah, they're doing that, huh?
Yeah.
Finally, we mentioned Super Bowl.
By the way, you know this year's Super Bowl licks. Next year, also Super Bowl licks. LX.
Oh, yeah.
Goodbye,
X.
everyone. Licking it.
Okay, bye.
That's right. It's Thursday Thunder, and it is brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Juju, what do we got?
Oh man, it is Super Bowl week, Daniel and Dano. You feel me? So I'm going straight to the game. We got a lot of things happening this week, but I'm going straight to the Super Bowl. First leg, we got D Jizzle, aka D Greasy, aka Dallas Goddard, for over 4.5 catches this Sunday against your Kansas City Chiefs.
Second leg.
Okay, cool. Second leg, I'm going with the Slim Reaper, a.k.a. the Slimmer Reaper, a.k.a. Slimmer for that, a.k.a. Skinny Batman, a.k.a. Devontae Smith for over 51.5 yards in the big game. You feel me?
So that's 2 overs.
Couple of overs for the Eagles.
Cutting it up.
You feel me?
Third
Come
leg.
on, man. I don't like to doubt people on these. I like to give folks confidence because I know they all watch this show and specifically this segment. Last leg, I'm going with Xavier Worthy for over 5.5 catches because they're going to be losing.
Oh, wow. Is that a prediction? Are we throwing a prediction on top of that?
That's my heart and dreams because it's, we got a lot going on this year. We got planes falling out the sky. We got devastation hitting the world right now. So I feel like the chef's kiss for that devastation would be for Patrick Mahomes to get yet another win, 3 in a row. No, sir. No, thank you. I'm going with my Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. You dig, ski.
Juju, am I alone in thinking that most of the country wants the Eagles to win?
No.
Yeah,
Now, I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying if we took a litmus test, a poll of the nation.
I think the majority of people want neither to win.
Well, I mean, that's not going to happen.
I mean, David Samson, ladies and gentlemen, wet blanket award goes to him.
Oh, yeah, we're doing awards.
Yeah. Please don't bring that energy
I want
to
that
this
one
as
today,
well.
Juju.
So as always, we steal a bit started by Dominique Foxworth, and we give ourselves awards in the post-game show. I want to give an award to Amin El Hassan. The just said a racial slur on air accidentally award.
Woo!
Good. It's not given
I'm
out every year.
magnifying that award.
For that one. Good job. Fanfare, though.
I like-
Roy missed it.
Yeah, that never happens to me.
I'm going to
like
give an
to
award
give-
right to Roy. I thought Roy was a pleasure to be with today, a pleasure to work with. He interjected at moments of the show that forwarded the show, didn't grind it to a halt at all.
Thank you, David.
The
I
David's
appreciate you.
pleasure.
So that hold on. Juju, hold on one
Thank
beat.
you.
I got to give David Sampson an award for the person who just started to compliment somebody, but somehow made that compliment by the end sound kind of like an insult award.
Good job, David.
David's got a lot of those, by the way. He's got a whole trophy case of them.
Can I give David another award?
Uh-huh.
He has the award for the least party host that I want to go to. I mean, your house.
Well said.
You can just go ahead. I know I killed that.
Congratulations.
You
Congratulations.
throw a
David.
party, I already know I'm not going.
Hey, Izzy, I give you an award for at least you didn't say a racial slur while you.
Yeah. Congratulations, Izzy. At least you didn't say it. Yeah.
I'd like to give Israel Gutierrez the $2 fine award for saying that you can't be a hip-hop artist and have a southern accent whenever Andre 3000, Young Thug, Future, Killer Mike, Ludacris, Quavo, Lil Wayne, 21 Savage, Pastor Troy, Bun B, rest in peace Pimp C, Juvenile, Scarface, The Ghetto Boys, Big Crit, 2
Uncle
Chainz,
Luke.
rest in peace DJ Unk, rest in peace Young Dolph, rest in peace Charlie Lowe, Moneybag Yo, Kevin Gates. I know this ain't the type of show we doing, but $2.
Juju.
Yes,
I'll
Woo!
pay $2. I just don't think of them as Southern accents. I just think of like super extreme Southern accents. But $2 will be paid.
You're
Izzy
doubling
doesn't-
down.
Izzy doesn't see accents.
I do want to piggyback on what Juju said. I want to give awards to many of those guys like Andre 3000 and Big. Oh, wait a sec. They already did. It's called Grammys.
No. BET Awards.
I like to give speaking of the Grammys, I'd like to give our fake Grammy to Jeremy, who on short notice made a
Very good.
parody song about David Stallings.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
He's in that lane now. So he's in the lane now where he's now going to have to do songs like once you start.
Already got a
Oh, he's
text
been
from
in that
Dan
lane.
saying that I should be doing that even more often.
Oh, so that's it
That's
now.
great.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd like to give an award to Jeremy for the got a text from Dan.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Hey, good job. Text from Dan. All right. Yeah.
And Mike
I
Shearer.
like to give Pat Riley the great guy and Business Before Pleasure award for not sending Jimmy Butler to New Orleans like I would have sent his ass.
Yeah. Good job. Did it. Yeah.
That was Juju's take on Bob on my podcast. He said that if he was Pat Riley, he'd send Jimmy Butler to New Orleans just to prove a point. He'd take the worst deal ever just to prove a point.
I'm with you.
Yep.
I think he
Get
should
ready
have
to
done that.
learn Pelicanese, buddy.
Pelicanese, that's what he said.
No, but it's Juju. I had him being sent to the Wizards.
Yes, sir. I like that. I like where your head is at, Pops.
I got to give, he's already won this award, but nothing better than winning it back-to-back. Executive Producer of the Day to Chris Cody.
I thought it was pretty shitty today, honestly.
No, you did
It
good.
was not as good as
How
it
are
was
you
late.
bowling
Yeah.
award?
Yeah.
Still the best EP of the week.
Yep.
After a hard bowling night.
Yeah.
He gave us the Joe Biden. He gave us the unexpected. He has a.
You know what? I was great.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
He had another. What was the other impression
Above
that you
average.
did that we were very impressed by? We were like, oh,
Trump.
that's actually pretty good.
It was Trump.
Yeah, Trump.
That was no, I don't. That
was
was
bad.
bad. That was terrible.
I also want to give an award for also another $2 for everyone in the building for no one saying deadline day. on
Yeah.
the-
Good job. Good job.
Right,
Stugotz is in
fair.
here, so yeah. Good job. Yeah. Good job.
Right.
Kind of forgot about it, but yeah.
No, that's true. That's an award that we all won. We
I'd like
didn't say
to.
it.
I'd like to give an award to Ryan Cortez for the saddest Zoom background on planet Earth.
Good job.
At least he
Good job.
showed up
Yeah.
today.
He did.
That's
Very cool.
I got
69. Yeah.
Another award for David Sampson.
Day.
Oh man.
David
Yes,
Sampson.
sir.
The
Good
award for
evening.
ultimate pecker checker.
Oh yeah. Pecker checker. Nobody checking pecks. Yeah.
Also, Chris, you get a may not be there when you want them, but you're there right on time award.
Yeah. He was late today though. Yeah.
Today,
I'm here when you need me.
Today, it was a real laugh party David.
Laugh party of the.
Yeah, laugh party. Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Dare I ask Juju what the audience thought today?
Hey, the audience, look, let's just say there are some days where we make the audience forget that how we are all. I want to dress it up. I don't want to say the things. David Samson had a rough day on the YouTube channel. Basically, what I'm saying. So I'm going to take this time, instead of digging into that, I'm going to send a salute to my brother and tell you some appreciation. You came to Atlanta and you made me a part of your show. You shared the stage with me, and you made me feel like a genuine brother. I thank you so much, David Samson.
Yeah.
Hats off to you.
Thank you.
Hats off.
Hats off. Hats off.
That made
Yeah,
Juju
my
feel
hat
like a
off.
genuine brother.
Hats off.
I'm sorry that that I had that impact.
That's a fine
Yeah.
Venmo.
That's
That
a
was
Venmo.
part of
That's a
what I was
fine.
doing.
Venmo
I
fine.
think we're probably done today, right? We're
All right,
good.
one more thing. One more award. Award to Dan Le Batard for dressing like the furniture awards.
Yeah, you look like a couch. Yeah, lazy boy. Lazy boy. Yeah, lazy boy.
I'm going to end it with an award for Pablo. It's hard to steer this ship. And man, you conducted, Pablo. You win the award for the best person to sit in Dan's chair who's not Dan, who's in this studio today.
Yeah, good job, Pablo. Yeah. He docked the ship.
I'm
Yeah.
not clapping.
What?
Not for that one.
Oh.
I mean, I
I
don't
can
look
do it.
like the chair I'm sitting in, so it's a hard.
That's a start. It's a start.
It's a good start.
hard
yeah.
bar to clear. Are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're done
yeah,
award.
bye.
It's a-
Thanks, Juju.
Give Davion
Thank you,
Mitchell
Al.
the award for good
Thanks,
addition to
Juju.
the Heat. Am I right?